All right, and we're live, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys so much for choosing Mercado Media. I'm Andy Mercado. I hope you guys had a fantastic Easter weekend. Please check in, guys. Comment where you're tuning in from, and we'll be back after this short intro. All right, everybody, welcome to the stream. Again, I'm your host, Andy Mercado. This is Mercado Media, independent news, independent media, frontline journalism when I can, because I go out there and report as well. I just came back from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was reporting on a protest there that was demanding justice for the police killing of Patrick Lyoya. So now I'm back here in Minnesota and we're diving back in. So today, the battle for Donbass has begun. The president of Ukraine announced it on all of his platforms. The Russian forces began shelling Mykolaiv, but not much success there. They've actually retreated, and we'll get into that. And then they've also are attempting to make moves on Kharkiv to the east. So there is advance, and there is a second offensive that has begun to the south and to the east of Ukraine at this time. That happened within the last 5 hours, I would say. We went live a little earlier at 5 p.m. when it had begun and did a short stream. Please go watch that if you missed it. All right, but again, this is our regular time, and if you missed it, that's okay. We'll cover anything that you might have missed from that stream during this one. Russia is continuing to launch artillery strikes against Ukrainian troops in the east, where Putin is planning a renewed offensive, per a UK defense intelligence. Russia is also deploying combat and support equipment from Belarus towards the east of Ukraine, including near Kharkiv and Severodonetsk. And actually, let's watch a clip real fast of how the city of Dnipro in eastern Ukraine, and Dnipro is here, right? They're preparing for the Battle of Donbass, okay? Oh man, my sources. 1 second. My sources. Oh no.
Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
I'm kidding. I didn't make it up. But all right, here we go. So this is in the Donbass region, Severodonetsk, and then Dnipro is over here. And here's a short report from Dnipro for this anticipated battle that has begun within the last few hours.
Today we're in Dnipro. Dnipro is a big city in eastern Ukraine that has a very special role today, as we are expecting the increase in fighting in eastern Ukraine. Dnipro is about to serve once again, as it did in 2014, it's about to serve as a major support and supply center for Ukrainian forces in eastern Ukraine. The mood in the city is not what you would expect it to be given the circumstances. There is a lot of anticipation in the air, but it's not anxious anticipation, it's more like prepared anticipation. And I was able to see some of the preparations being made. I've been to a number of volunteer centers, centers that distribute humanitarian aid, who provide supplies to the Ukrainian armed forces that are in the east. I've talked to the mayor of Dnipro, who told me some interesting things about what he expects to happen. There is this sense of, we know what we're doing, and I think the experience of 2014, when Dnipro was also a major supply and support center for the east, it is what is feeding this sense of calm, preparedness that is felt in Dnipro today. One interesting thing about Dnipro is that the city really serves as an example of how off the Russian propaganda narrative about Russian-speaking Ukrainians is. The city is almost entirely Russian-speaking, but it is not pro-Russian at all. And that's what Russian propaganda wants you to believe, that Ukrainians who speak Russian, they have emotional, cultural, whatever other connection to Russia that makes them pro-Russian, that makes them want to be a part of Russia. And that is simply not true. And Dnipro is, I think, the best, most clear example of that.
So that's from Dnipro, talking about the Russian propaganda that the people there are pro-Russian because they speak Russian. They're Russian-speaking Ukrainians there. This is Ukrainian BM-21 Uragan 220 multiple rocket launchers in action. I just want to show you guys some. This is what those multiple launch rocket systems look like. So whenever you see the words MLRS in all caps, just think of this, okay? Or think of a variation of this, or what this looks like. MLRS is the multiple launch rocket systems.
Батарея! Визначено кількість снарядів по супостату, залпом огонь!
All right, that's what MLRS is. Multiple launch rocket systems. Why? Because they launch multiple rockets. Okay, let's continue on. So, Luhansk Oblast Governor, over 100,000 residents have left without gas, electricity, according to Serhiy Haidai. 37 settlements in the region are cut off from gas to the Russian shelling, while 32 settlements lack electricity. That's in Luhansk. That's the city to the east of Donetsk. Von der Leyen, EU to sanction Sberbank, not impose direct ban on Russian oil. So they're going to sanction Sberbank again, which I swear Sberbank has been opinion time. I swear Sberbank's been sanctioned at least by everybody, but I guess it's a part of the sanctions package. But they're not going to impose a direct ban on Russian oil. Ursula von der Leyen told German newspaper Bild that the EU isn't considering an outright ban on Russian oil, as the move will lead to shortages, rising prices, and will, quote, ultimately strengthen Putin. So that's coming from the president of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen. Russia launched more long-range attacks with air raids and missile strikes across Ukrainian's capital Kyiv and other major cities on Saturday. Moscow said the warplane struck a tank repair facility and said at least one person had died. All right, so we're going to be going over that as well. I want to go over what the president of Ukraine said. I thought I had a better transition for the news story for when he announced the Battle of Donbass, but we're just going to hop into that. I thought I had a better transitional news story into this, but I don't want to get too off this topic. So this was Dnipro preparing for the Battle of Donbass to the east, which is over here. Okay, here's Dnipro. Battle of Donbass. This is that region that Rob from Speak the Truth, and I mean, if you're watching any channels covering this war on YouTube, this is that area. This is the area that they're moving in on, and it's that time now. Okay, I am ex-military. I am. You know, you guys, my uniform's behind me. It's hanging up. I was 88 Mike. I served. Shout out to our veteran community. If you're a veteran, go ahead and comment where you served from, because we have an international audience. So if you served in a non-U.S. military, go ahead, comment. We have an amazing veteran community that tunes in. Thank you to our veteran community. I was at 88 Mike from 2012 to 2020. 4 years active duty, 4 years in the reserves, 1 tour to the Middle East. All right. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to our veteran community. So this is the Donbass region that they're going to be moving in on. Kramatorsk, this is the railway station that was hit a couple weeks ago. Viral video came out there. But a lot of the advancements overnight have been in the Kharkiv region, which is, again, to the eastern region of Ukraine. But again, keep in mind that there has been a rocket attack in Lviv as well, which we will get to after the president of Ukraine speaks. And the rocket attack in Lviv is not good, because like 5 rockets got into the city, and I didn't hear any alarms going off while the rockets were hitting either. And that's Lviv. That is supposedly the safest city in the country. And after what I saw earlier in the earlier stream, nowhere is safe in Ukraine for the missiles. So let's listen to the president of Ukraine talking about the Battle of Donbass.
Зараз вже можна констатувати, що російські війська розпочали битву за Донбас, до якої давно готувались. Дуже значна частина всієї російської армії зараз сконцентрована для цього наступу. Скільки б туди не згоняли російських військових, ми будемо боротись, ми будемо захищатись. Ми будемо це робити щоденно. Нічого українського не віддамо, а чужого нам просто не потрібно. На сході та півдні нашої держави окупанти намагаються атакувати останнім часом трохи більш продумано, ніж це було раніше. Тиснуть.
Those that are asking about Member Mondays, hey, we'll bring Member Day will come back on a different day. There's another large streamer that this is their day off. So we're welcome to everybody that usually watches a different streamer, and just because this is their day off, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. So I'm going to have to move our member day to a different day. All right. I hope that makes sense to everybody, because there's a bunch of new people that are welcome to Mercado Media today. They're usually tuned in to someone else, and they're a guest here. So welcome. I hope you guys do stick around, but I will be moving the member day to a different day just because of that, for that reason. All right.
Шукають слабке місце в обороні нашої держави, щоб знайти і зайти туди основними силами. Мабуть, російські генерали, які звикли не рахувати будь-які втрати, убили вже стільки російських військових, що навіть їм доводиться бути обережніше, бо нікого не залишиться, щоб наступати. Сьогоднішні удари по Львову, по Дніпропетровщині та будь-які інші російські удари означають тільки одне – ми, світ та історія заберуть у Росії значно більше, ніж російські ракети в Україні. Кожне втрачене життя – це аргумент лише для того, щоб українці та інші вільні народи покоління за поколінням сприймали Росію виключно як загрозу. Тобто російські ракетні удари призводять лише до одного – ракетної самодемілітаризації Російської Федерації. Схожий процес відбувається і з іншими російськими озброєннями. Виробляти нову артилерію, літаки, нові гвинтокрили, крейсери в умовах санкцій буде непідйомним завданням для Росії. Жодний із ракетних ударів не змінив для Росії ситуацію якоюсь принципово. Та якщо оцінювати їх усі разом, то висновок буде – це стратегічна безглуздість.
All right, so that's from President Zelensky about the Russian assault on the Donbass has begun. And then let's get into the long-range attacks that were...
This Sunday, Putin's warning.
No, we don't watch that anymore. All right. Lviv, meet the press. This is the videos that came out of Lviv, and I want you guys to see this video of the Russian cruise missile strikes on Lviv this morning, which would be Monday morning. Okay, it's now Tuesday morning in Ukraine, so this was Monday morning. I know it's Monday night here. You got to think back; they're ahead of us in the time frames. All right, so this was in Lviv. Monday morning. Yes, this is Lviv. This was Monday morning in Lviv. I'll show you guys on the map where the city is, and then I'll play the video one more time. So I'm going to do a poll too quick. Here on my channel, I play clips twice, all right, because there's things you might have missed, and there's some people that don't like it. I'm going to do a poll and see what the general audience likes. If you guys want me to just play clips once and leave it at once, I'll do that. But I do play clips a couple times because, I mean, even me, I see things I didn't see the first time watching it again. But here's Lviv. It's about 40 miles from from Poland. This is Poland here, Polish border. And here's Lviv, okay, on our map. Lviv, here it is on the Google Maps. All right, Lviv, all the way to the west. Here's Kyiv, okay? So here's like the three regions: the central region, the western region, and the eastern region. Okay, the eastern region is the one that's out, the one that's getting ready for battle right now. The eastern region of Ukraine. Central region is Kyiv and the capital, and then western, just think Lviv. Please go to Street View on that clip. Do we have a? I wonder if it's geolocated. Do we have a geolocation on that? And I would, of course, would. I don't see the geo confirmed account on this yet. Maybe it's posted. View in Telegram. Media is too big. Oh. If you can get me a geolocation of this video, comment in our Discord and I'll pull it up. I'll pull up the Street View. That's what we do. If you can find the coordinates, I'll pull up the view and see it. So here it is, one more time. No, this is not the Azovstal steel factory. That's in Mariupol. We'll get to that. You're thinking of the Azovstal steel factory. That's in Mariupol. This is in Lviv. All right, so let's go to. You were thinking of the. Let's just type in Mariupol. 60 tweets in the last hour. Video of Azov forces attacking. Okay, we can go through that video, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. Despite the Azov fighters in Mariupol, okay, we'll do that. Where is the Azovstal steel factory? Here it is. So obviously a lot of these are written biased, but they're videos. I'm trying to find the sources that we use. Residents of Mariupol, let's do this. Azovstal steel. Here it is. This is what I was looking for. Latest drone flyover the Azovstal steel plant. This would be the northernmost portion of the property. That's Mariupol. That's down here. Okay, that was Lviv. Mariupol down here, as you guys can see, even on the live UA map. We'll look at Rob's latest video from Speak the Truth and see what his map is looking like. But this is what's left. And then let's look and see where the Azovstal steel plant is exactly in Mariupol. Dire situation in Mariupol. Azovstal station. So it's no Azovstal. Oops. Where is the plant? Oh, here. In here. Right in this region right here of Mariupol. Mariupol has changed a lot. Yeah, it's left to ashes and dust right now. They've been holding off for a couple weeks, but the situation's been getting worse and worse. It's not good in Azovstal steel plant. Let's look at some more video here. Azovstal steel plant is taking another beating. A Ukraine war. So this is video from the Azovstal. Look at all of Mariupol looks like this though. This isn't just what the steel plant region looks like. This is what like 90% of Mariupol looks like, scorched earth. This was a steel factory. This had nothing to do with bioweapons. Listen, we don't deal with conspiracies here, all right? We deal with trying to seek the most relevant and accurate information out of this war. If you want to go talk about other nonsense, do that elsewhere. This is the Azovstal steel and iron factory. Mariupol is lost now and will remain so. I think so as well. I mean, there's no way to get any type of aid in there. How do you even get reinforcements to them? They're not going to surrender. No, there's multiple truths there. Both they're going to fight to the end, and also I think this is a dire situation here. There's no way to get resources or anything in there to help. There's no audio here in this one. No audio in that video. Azovstal steel plant. Let's go through a couple more. Azovstal steel plant is a stronghold held by the Azov and other battalions. There is other units in this. Okay, never mind. Dead soldier. There is other units inside of Mariupol that isn't just the Azov regiment. More video from Mariupol. Just scorched earth. Trying to find any more of the Azovstal plant. Russia drone footage of the Mariupol's Azovstal steel factory. I think this video, this definitely is, when was this video posted? On the 17th, so this is from 2 days ago. It's more destroyed now, but this is what the general area did look like. It's wild to think even in just 2 days, it's left to ash and rubble right now. The video you guys saw of the UAV footage, or the footage from the sky, this is the most updated one. So here's what it is now, just completely destroyed. And then this was just a couple days ago. Appreciate that, Jason. Make sure you guys like the video, you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any streams. If you guys tune into a different streamer, that's what's up. Come back on Mondays and make sure you got that notification so you guys don't miss our Monday stream. We stream every day except for Friday nights and Sundays. Friday nights because I'm involved in the recovery community softball league, so I manage a team that night, so I'm going to be doing softball Friday nights. They're not going to show you this stuff. This is and this is just the outskirts of Mariupol. So look at the city. This isn't the steel plant. They're going to pan into the steel plant, but look at it. It just looks nothing. All these buildings in the foreground here. What is this video from Mariupol near the Azovstal steel plant showing intense battles between defending Ukrainian troops and Russian forces? I think this was from Saturday as well, this video here. But it's okay though, information's coming out tight now. I'm going to keep it within the last day or two. But it's not like it was when the war began, when I was able to pull up clips pretty instantaneous. Ukraine's own government actually put the kibosh on that and told reporters not to post videos until later, because then it would allow, because information was coming out instantaneous when the war began, and like we were watching it in real time, step by step. We watched on live feeds and CCTV footage of the Russian forces moving in. But the Ukrainian government, for OPSEC reasons, and obviously, you know, you get a video posted shortly after the rocket strike, you got Russia watching that too, and they can fire and adjust, or they can adjust fire and re-coordinate and then hit a target that they meant to hit. So that's why information isn't coming out like it was. But we'll keep it within the last couple of days, and if it is from a couple of days, I make sure you guys know that. Even though this was posted 6 hours ago, this video isn't from 6 hours ago.
Птица заснял.
А ты снимаешь, да?
Угу.
Дым разойдется, посмотрим, что там осталось.
All right, there's some ground fighting in Mariupol. Kind of hard to see in that video. More from what the Azovstal steel factory looks like. A lot of Ukrainian forces were embedded within the Azovstal steel factory, and that's in here, Mariupol. They've been shelling that steel factory nearly every single day in Mariupol, every single day. They've been going building to building. The Chechen forces, Kadyrev's unit, and other Russian units have been just going building to building in that steel factory. It's giant. Because there's Ukrainian forces in it. It's a it's a big factory. There's lots of you can't hide from shellings, but in a ground urban combat, I mean, you got a lot of ambush positions in there. It's a fortress. They also built it up. Also, keep in mind there are civilians in the steel plant too. They're protecting them in there. There's tunnels in there. It's a giant fortress that they made out of it. But also, civilians are in there from Mariupol. Those that are worried about Odessa, I wouldn't. Right at this time, the last report that I had read, and I'll try to pull it up, that Russian forces had made an attempt on Mykolaiv, and they were pushed back. They made an attempt even on Mykolaiv, and they're retreating overnight. So they'd have to break through Mykolaiv to get to Odessa, and they haven't even done that. Explosions in Odessa as a result of an air defense engaging aerial targets. That was 14 hours ago, the last activity over here. They're definitely doing things, Russia. But in terms of being able to take another city, their troops here are retreated back towards Kherson. They retreated back. I'll try to pull up that story. Pro-Russian clip at Russian forces firing at the Azovstal steel plant. So here is Russian forces, Russian video. That's the only thing I can really do to quote-unquote show both sides, if you will. Show the Russian videos as well. But this is showing Russian forces attacking that steel plant in Mariupol. Chechen, we watched that. That's from the 12th now. That was the Chechen forces going building to building. That's an old video. We don't need to see that. Let's continue on. Let's see if there's anything new in the developments of the Russian forces moving. Russian 2S1 battery firing at Ukrainian positions in Donbass. So we have a new video. This is definitely a pro-Russian video. I'm wondering if we're going to see lots of Russia videos coming out from this battle in Donbass. They have all their propaganda set up here in Donbass already. Likely going to see lots of Russian clips. They got the Z on the tank. You can kind of see it. You got to squint. It might be bad. But I can definitely tell that's the Z on there. Video quality isn't the best. Let's keep going here. The enemy does not have a military manpower or competence to win the war. Not sure what the moral is, but I'm always shocked at how small Putin's army turns out to be. Let's just continue on. Who is this person? Professor of Strategic Studies at University of St. Andrews. How the war was won. Let's see what some really interesting evidence from the Pentagon briefing today, as reported by who's Jack Detz, bringing you stories from the Pentagon. So he's a Pentagon reporter, which sheds light on how the Russian buildup is going and how many losses they have suffered in the ongoing battle of Donbass. U.S. assesses that Russia now has 76 battalion tactical groups inside Ukraine, an increase of 11 over the last week. So that's just giving you more context of the Russian military building up their forces in the Donbass. The U.S. intelligence reports have been fairly accurate, as well as the United Kingdom's. To this point, they haven't been fanning flames, I should say. Obviously, we don't know if they're leaving any information out, but they're definitely not overhyping things, or if there's things that are being hyped, at least the U.S. intelligence has corrected it. First, the Russian buildup now is occurring. Before today, the number of Russian BTGs the Pentagon was estimating that were in Ukraine had actually dropped significantly. Now we have a hard number, 76, 11 of which entered Ukraine over the past days. Russia continues to move in command and control, artillery, and other military enablers into Ukraine's Donbass region for the coming offensive, a senior U.S. defense official. Russia sent 11 additional battalion tactical groups into Ukraine over the weekend. So they definitely, over Easter weekend, they were getting ready for this push that they're making. Much of these are the new formations with artillery are heading for the Donbass. Other hard figure, those 22 BTGs undergoing refit outside of Ukraine, mostly one assumes from the Kyiv assault. The failed Kyiv assault, I should say. Combining these two, we have 98 BTGs, which is interesting. That means Russia has fully lost 42 BTGs. What is battle? Is that battle groups? Is BTG stand for battle group? Chat. Other sign that Russia is really gearing up for the engagement is that they have upped their air operations and tempo considerably. Okay, 1.5 times increase up the 200 stories yesterday. No indication of what they are attacking, but they are getting more things in the air. That is something to watch closely, especially if there's evidence of the kinds of missions flown. Battle Tactical Group, BTG, thank you. Thank you for that, Aaron. U.S. also seems to be moving very swiftly on getting at least some aid to Ukraine. 4 flights in the past 24 hours with more soon. That's considerable pace. An interesting situation, 76 battle tactical groups for all of Ukraine is really not a great number for Russia. Will be hard to do everything and to make a major offensive in the Donbass through watch the other 22. The most concerning thing from my perspective is the air operations. Really need to make sure Ukraine has the anti-air it needs. I agree with this, because how many rockets hit Lviv? How many rockets hit Lviv on Monday morning? And time to pull out the stops to get some fixed wings. The MiGs would do fine in the short term. Just had this clear update. Artillery and vehicles are getting to Ukraine now for the Battle of Donbass. This was 9 hours ago. Ukrainian General Staff saying Russian offensive has begun. That was 8 hours ago. U.S. less sure main Russian offensive has started. The U.S. believes Russia is shaping and setting conditions for fight in Donbass, including some active combat, but is not publicly saying the Russian offensive has begun. Ukraine's General Staff today said it saw signs of beginning of the offensive operation by Russia in Donbass. Zelensky says it started, so this is just a timeline of the day. Analysis is spot on. So this is he's actually providing decent analysis. I'll add Phillips to the list. You just made the list. Oh, I'm on my... Oh, we're good. You just made the list. Other big news, or news that shocked me earlier before we went off, is Malcolm Nance is fighting in Ukraine. the MSNBC contributor. He was special forces, so it's not like it's like random. Now, hear me out. Hear me out on this. Russia's gonna make propaganda out of this. Okay, that's the thing I thought about. I took a nap. Okay, I took a nap in between last stream and this stream, and I thought about it a little more. And as good as it is to see, Malcolm Nance fighting it for the International Legion, Russia's gonna make propaganda out of that instantly. They're gonna be like, look at the mainstream news is having having American soldiers fight or Americans fight. They're gonna twist this. So it is, although it is eye popping to see like Malcolm fighting. I'm concerned. Give the man a follow. Oh, my bad. Good idea. I added it to the list. I'm concerned with that. But that's what's up though. Malcolm Nance, he's gone viral multiple times on Bill Maher, and this is what he has to say.
Every time you see this logo,
he's an ex Navy chief. So again, it's not like he's just out there. He definitely has experience, but this is Malcolm.
And Malcolm, we just watched that video of you, and Ali Arouzi was attempting to interview you for us to get more information on what you're doing. We saw those cruise missiles fly overhead. So explain to us why you are there and what you are doing.
Well, as you know, I spent quite a bit of time here in the pre-war period. And when the invasion happened, I had friends who were in Donetsk, who were in the Ukrainian army, who were writing to us and telling us, we're not going to survive tonight. We've been hit 500 times. These are graduates of Defense Language Institute. These were my friends. And, as the more I saw of the war going on, the more I thought, I'm done talking. All right. It's time to take action here. So about a month ago, I joined the International Legion here in Ukraine, and I am here to help this country.
That's important to remember. He's been there for a month now. So even though this is just being reported that he's there, but he's been there for a month.
Fight, what essentially is a war of extermination. This is an existential war, and Russia has bought it to these people, and they are mass murdering civilians. And there are people here like me who are here to do something about it.
And we have some video here. This is some video that was shot by Ali's team of yourself with some supplies and the things that you are working on while you're there. We know there are about 20,000 people from 52 countries that are currently in Ukraine and have been there from the start of the war. What are international troops like yourself, what are you all tasked to do?
Well, we are here for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to protect the innocent people of Ukraine from this Russian aggression. And, it's not a conventional war, Joy.
All right, the other thing, too, on this channel, we watch things to understand the messaging, all right? You're not watching this because you need to be inspired by NBC. I fully get it. I'm trying to understand the Malcolm Nance story and why he's there.
Even though you have two armed forces going head-to-head here, what you have is you have another group. I won't even refer to the Russians as an army, just using mass heavy weapons that are used in combat against civilians. They are destroying infrastructure. And then you find that they go to the cities and they massacre men, women, and children. And that is the fundamental reason everyone is here. The International Legion is a multinational force. It is men and women. There are thousands here who are here to protect this country. And for the most part, we really have to assist them in any way to stop this. And so I've decided I came here to assist them, with the skills that I have myself.
We walk the walk. He's always on the, listen, hey, the one thing you got to give him credit for, even though knowing Russia's going to use this, is he walked the walk and he's there. I mean, he talks big all the time on all the talk shows. You guys have seen him. He's gone viral many times, and can't really say nothing when he's standing in the country and he's been there for a month fighting.
And we know that there is a tradition of Americans and others going overseas to assist in wars overseas. Eugene Bullard is somebody who people think of in that way as an African-American young man, 19 years old, went over and fought in 2 world wars. So we know that there is a tradition of doing this. And I wonder for you, do you feel that, foreigners stick out wherever they are? People know that you clearly are not Ukrainian when they see you. Do you think that poses any special danger to the people who are not Ukrainian who are there?
No, it doesn't, because the war that's being waged here is being waged against everybody. Look, they're not going around hunting for American flag patches or to see who's black, who's Asian, who's Latino. We are a part of the Ukrainian armed forces. We are brothers and sisters with the Ukrainian army. And that being said, we are fighting side by side, elbow to elbow with them. The Russians, on the other hand, they barely, except for when...
Wouldn't be America without a culture war question, would it? God, dude. This is why we don't... we're watching this to understand Malcolm's position there, but the questions, from the mainstream news suck. What a dumb question. He's like, no, we're here fighting Russia.
They're doing these offensives and moving with armor forces down these highways. They're barely attacking the Ukrainians. They're maintaining a line, but their emphasis seems to be the mass murder of civilians, which is against all laws of war. These are war crimes. So believe me, the International Legion here, which is a viable, strong combat force, which is out on the line. No one's going around asking whether, if you're Asian or you're Catholic or you're Jewish, whether you're actually helping the people of Ukraine. They are grateful for the help. And I'm grateful to be here. I'm glad that I can help my friends. And I don't have to listen to them talk about how many children were killed that day. We're going to try to put a stop to it.
And what do you make of this shift in the war strategy? We had learned earlier on in the last couple of weeks that Russia was focusing on trying to create this land bridge to Crimea, which is why they've been pummeling the city of Mariupol, really wiping it off the face of the earth, because they want to have all of that land that in what they call the Donbas region in the east that goes all the way down to Crimea. Now it looks like they're off that strategy. And as you said, just pounding civilians in random cities, even in western Ukraine.
Well, this was always part of the Russian strategy. That's not a new factor to it. It's just that what happened was they got destroyed in the northern part of Ukraine, certainly northwest of Kyiv, near Chernihiv.
He's not lying. He's not lying right now or fanning flames.
Out in the northeast, out in Sumy, they had their lines of supplies cut off. They had their logistics destroyed, and they pulled those forces out of that part of the country. Now they're going for a land grab on 20% of the country to take the entire eastern portion of that of Ukraine and leveling Mariupol, leveling Kherson, leveling Kharkiv, making their thrust to Izumi and wiping that place out in every other village with long-range artillery. This is why the United States needs to provide heavy weapons to Ukraine. Russia has one advantage on this battlefield, and that is long-range artillery. And let me tell you, let me say something to the President of the United States. Give them counter-battery long-range artillery, multiple rocket launch systems, HIMARS rocket launch systems, something that can outrange their artillery. If you do that, you stop the attacks on civilians, because that's what they're doing with the artillery. They are mass murdering civilians, and they're barely, they're preparing the battlefield as well, but they destroy villages. They don't care who's in them and who's not. And that's what this entire fight is about. If we fail here, and we're not going to, because we're here to win, and we are winning. But if we fail here, the Russians, they're here to wipe democracy out in this country, and hopefully that it would cascade to other countries. This battle is here. It's going to be fought now, and we're going to win it.
All right. Good on Malcolm Nance for going. Malcolm Nance leaves MSNBC and joins the fight in Ukraine. Because my brain works a little differently. Russia's for sure going to use this. All right, just wait for that. Russia's going to use that, but still, two truths, right? Good on Malcolm Nance for walking the walk, and he's shit. I don't know any other big mainstream journalists or contributors that are out there in full kit. You know what I mean? He's been on panels on Bill Maher, and he's always on Bill Maher. But all right, That's Malcolm Nance and why he's in Ukraine fighting. He's been there for about a month, apparently. I was shocked when I saw that earlier in the evening. Let's continue on. Comment where you guys are tuned in from, what city, what state, where in the world you guys are watching from. I'm Andy Mercado. I'm your host from Mercado Media. This is an independent news stream. I sometimes do my own journalism when I can. Like I just got back from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was covering protests that were going on there. Any events in the United States, I get out to and provide a live stream. So definitely continue following and subscribing to the channel, because if there's some shit going on in the United States, Mercado Media is going to get to it. I promise you. Okay. So we're out there. We'll get out to as much news as I can. But again, this is independent media. This portion I would say is more of I'm reacting to the news and sourcing the news with you guys. I don't read any of this beforehand. I obviously read some of it during the earlier stream, but I really am getting this information and reading it with you guys. And I feel that's a better experience. Because, I mean, as much as I do have my own opinions on things, I'm reading this for the first time, so I don't have any opinion beforehand reading our list and going through the news every night. All right, telling me where you're tuned in from. We got Pennsylvania tuned in, Tampa, Florida. Thank you so much. We got Anchor Point, Alaska is tuned in, Portland, Oregon is tuned in, Elizabethtown, North Carolina. Let's go. Welcome. We got Bemidji, Minnesota. Welcome to all of our viewers that usually tune into the Enforcer. Thank you guys so much for choosing Mercado Media for your news on his night off. Thank you guys so much. Again, Iowa, Florida, Windsor, Ontario. Welcome. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I know, again, just to reiterate, tonight's usually our member night for the chat. We have an amazing member community that help keep the platform alive, because I can't put monetization on these streams because every single video would get blocked due to the content. So I got to turn off monetization. So the only thing that keeps it going really is the super chat, super stickers, and those that are members. So Mondays now, due to our amazing new viewers, I'm going to be moving the member only day to a different day. And I'll announce that on Twitter when I do. So that'll be in the coming days. I'll announce that. Follow us on Twitter, you guys, for faster updates. For sure. I post daily on there now. And it's easier to, and I'm actually going to start posting on the YouTube channel too. I did earlier. Did you guys see the post on the YouTube channel? Because I can do posts on YouTube as well, like a timeline. So I'll post to YouTube any updates, but as well as follow us on Twitter for faster updates. Windsor, Ontario, welcome. Ukrainian paramedic braves shelling to comfort citizens in Kharkiv. So this is going to be viewer discretion advised on this video. This video does contain disturbing content, but it shows you a Ukrainian paramedic that was comforting people that were getting wounded in Kharkiv yesterday. There was a humanitarian operation trying to take place and help people in Kharkiv, but even that humanitarian operation was being shelled. So here's that video. If you've seen it already, you know what I mean. Oh, let me turn it down some. Let me turn it down some.
Делая в коридор, где несущая стена, вот как нам рекомендуют, где больше, лучше от осколков прятаться. А тут, видимо, было попадание прямо в крышу и над нашими квартирами.
Я хотел сегодня с ребенком приехать покупаться в эту квартиру. Бог отвел.
Та
не моя.
Oh.
Но забрали уже из горящего дома.
Oh. It wasn't their cat. They took it and saved it though. So that's from Ukrainian paramedic brave shelling to comfort people. MSNBC this is the big reporting news, I should say. MSNBC foreign policy analyst Malcolm Nance revealed that he's on the ground. So even John giving you the good on you, Malcolm. Let's see, defense.gov. Russians shaping operations in Donbass point to more aggressive plans in the future.
A couple of things at the top here. I think you saw it quit on me. Assistance to you. Read out of that call a little bit ago. This afternoon, I think as you all know, the Secretary is now meeting with the Philippine Secretary of National Defense, Delfin Lorenzana, here at the Pentagon, just upstairs, to discuss ways to continue to deepen our cooperation under the U.S.-Philippines alliance. Both ministers will reiterate their commitment to supporting the security, stability, and prosperity of the Indo-Pacific and to ensuring the alliance remains capable and based on shared values and interests. They're also scheduled to, of course, discuss the importance of acting in unison to condemn Russian aggression and acting in solidarity with Ukraine. Finally, the Secretary will express his deepest condolences on behalf of the Department for the tragic loss of life in the Philippines in the wake of Tropical Storm Megai. I think it's more than 100 Philippines.
So this is about a half hour long. You can find this on Department of Defense. Let's just read. It's been just over the last several days. You can see the Russians are doing what we call shaping. This is from the press secretary, John F. Kirby, from the Defense Department, United States. They're trying to set the conditions for more aggressive, more overt, and larger ground maneuvers in the Donbass. Those shaping operations, Kirby said, involved putting more forces, enablers, and command and control capability in the Donbass. We have seen Russians continue to flow in enablers, capabilities that will help them fight in the Donbass going forward, he said. That's artillery, rotary aviation, helicopter support, and command and control enablers. And we do what they have reinforced the number of battalion tactical groups in the east and the south of Ukraine. Kirby said the department has seen the Russians add about 10 additional tactical groups over what they had already had in the Donbass, although it's unclear for now where they are going. The Russians have also bought an additional artillery to the Donbass region, per John Kirby, and the Ukrainians are doing the same. Some of those artillery pieces will be American 150mm howitzers, a total of 18, which are part of the most recent $800 million security assistance drawdown package that was announced last week. Along with those howitzers came 40,000 rounds with some light training for a few Ukrainian artillerymen that should begin in the next few days. I do remember seeing this news story. U.S. howitzer, Ukraine. We're going to be training Ukrainians on how to use howitzers. U.S. to start training Ukrainians on howitzers in the coming days. Any howitzer operators in the chat? We have an awesome veteran community. Listen, I know when we have this many people tuned in, we're gonna have trolls. It just is what it is. Just fight through it. Oh man, article limit for real. Stars and Stripes. Here we go. No article limit here. U.S. troops. Go back. U.S. troops to train Ukrainian forces on howitzers in the coming days. Goodness. What's the point of pop-up blockers if they just come through? Washington. American troops will train Ukrainian forces in the coming days as how to operate U.S. howitzers as the Pentagon sends them 18 of the cannons as part of the latest $800 million in military aid, a senior U.S. defense official said on Monday. The training, which will occur outside of Ukraine, will teach Ukrainian forces to operate 155mm howitzers. They will then return to the fight and train other Ukrainians to use American cannons, the official said. The aid package includes 40,000 artillery rounds. We have made some progress in terms of setting up the training for Ukrainians, the official told reporters to the Pentagon. These are train the trainer sessions, so training trainers outside of Ukraine in the coming days on the howitzers specifically. So they're training the trainers right now. That's how the U.S. military works. You train up the people that are going to be giving the training. Train the trainers. And then the trainers then train their own people. The U.S. does not expect it to take long to complete the instruction, Chief Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said. It's not going to be exuberant. It won't take a long time. It won't require a large pool of trainees. You're an RO for FO for a 105 millimeter. We don't believe that it's going to be an onerous task or lengthy in time or resources. Ukraine already uses howitzers such as the Soviet-era 152 millimeter MSATAB. What is that? 152 millimeter. What does that look like? The 152 millimeter howitzer. That's the one that they know how to use. And we're going to be training them on the 155. Is there a big difference between them? They're saying that it's not going to take long to train them. And then this is something I never even got close to. I didn't even transport these. I didn't touch these at all. One M114 155 millimeter howitzer. It looks like an old picture though. The World War II era. Thanks, Andrew, Snack Squad for life. Thank you, Evie. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, with the $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Evie. World War II dang. This must be a reliable piece of equipment. They've been using it since the United States has been using this thing since 1942. So it's reliable. The M114 155 millimeter howitzer is a towed howitzer developed and used by the United States Army. It was first produced in 1942 as a medium artillery piece under the designation of 155 millimeter howitzer M1. Wow. The 152 is. So they're going to be getting training on that. Let's reload our list here. Thin red line, I've seen that one. Let's go to Rob and look at Rob Lee's combat footage updates. Let's see what he's got here. Destroyed Russian BMP-3 on TikTok. So it's probably going to have music. Yep. Fallon, thank you so much. Awesome job, mods. You're doing faster than I can. Let's continue on. A destroyed Russian tank, likely a T-72B3. Low-flying Russian Mi-24 helicopter in Donetsk. We're going to see lots of low-flying aerial helicopters and the Su-25s flying. I haven't seen an Mi-24 in a while. Did he provide a newer update? The last Speak the Truth video, he was just reacting to combat footage. Undated video reportedly showing Russian Mi-8 helicopters evacuating wounded Russian servicemen with Ka-52 providing security. People are saying check Rob's video, speak the truth. So now here's some of the videos that happened overnight. I was talking about the strikes in Mykolaiv. Here's video. Now this was overnight. It's 7:06 in the morning. There were strikes in Kharkiv and around Mykolaiv around 10 p.m. in the night prior. All right, let's pull it up. Everyone's saying check it out. Did you post a new one while I was taking a nap? Yeah, I did. Infamous sniper hunts down Russian troops.
How are you?
Is this the Canadian sniper? All right, let's check it out. Sponsored video. Here we go.
How are you guys doing? And welcome over to the channel. This video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. Got to say thank you to them because a lot of these videos over here on YouTube aren't monetized. So make sure to support the sponsors of the channel when we get the chance to, because this single day with Russia. Russia, of course, wants the Ukrainians within the city to surrender, but they will not because they do not trust Russians to actually do what they said in light of the actual attacks. I'm going to get this name incorrectly, but Ilovaisk battle back in 2014, which took almost 400 Ukrainian soldiers, lost their lives in that battle. They were supposed to be given up, and they didn't. So they're not really trustworthy with what they're saying on the Mariupol, so they are fighting pretty much. It's their Alamo. I've said this over and over and over again. So Russia's actually now lost its 8th general in war against Ukraine so far. General Vladimir Frolov, he was a part of the 8th Army of Russia Southern Military District. He is the 2nd general to actually be KIA within this unit in the last month. So Russia is also sending a warning over to Chechnya. They're claiming that the Czech Republic is not allowed to provide Ukraine with any Soviet-made weapons without Russia's permission. Prague says they don't care about this. They're not actually responding to any type of blackmail, and they've completely brushed the entire claim off 100%. The U.S. Department of Defense has actually released this video, which I'm about to show you guys, showing a supply crates containing munitions and other explosive materials bound for Ukraine.
Yeah, they've lost 8 generals. 8 generals Russia's lost.
All right, so the Russian, I'm going to jack this name up. It's a name of a company, I should say, there. Uralvagnazoid. Anyway, it is a place where they produce the tanks. It is a completely shut down production. Will no longer be able to actually assemble any of the T-72s or the newer T-90s and or the T-14s. The reason being the lack of imported components from the sanctions of the Western countries. Yes, that is kind of crazy. The sanctions are literally making it to where they cannot generate any more T-72s as of right now. They did not state which component it was. It could be, I don't know, a chip or something, I don't know, like a hose. Who knows? I would assume, we did hear about this about a month ago. I'm going to assume something like this did happen about a month ago, that they're going to figure out how to get around it. It's probably going to be a thing. But anyway, Russian Mod has apparently reported that Russians have destroyed the military aid that's been coming in to Europe. They claim that an arsenal of weapons and ammunition was destroyed by Russian missiles that hit last night, I guess, in Lviv, like in a rail station. They claim to have hit the rail station with a high-precision weapon from the Russian Aerospace Forces. But the United States has now come out and stated that there is no indication that Russia has been able to do this. They've not actually successfully shot down anything. No cargo planes, no rail stations have been hit. If they did hit something, it was nothing that we were actually bringing in the West. So any military that's been coming in the Ukraine, it's kind of the same thing when the ship sank. When this ship sank just the other day, they're like, oh, we hit the place where they were making the rockets and the missiles. That wasn't the case either. So it's the same thing. All right, so there's actually now currently unconfirmed reports that the president of Belarus is preparing the Belarusian military and population to respond to a claimed hostile act from Poland. This keeps evolving. This evolved over the last 4 to 6 hours, by the way. This comes after the EU, which Poland...
1 second. What? Belarus... Russian Belarusian trucks stuck at Polish border as EU ban comes into effect. What? Hey, listen, if you guys have just tuned in now, or if you haven't been paying attention, I'm just going to say it. This is going to go, this is my opinion, based upon everything we've been seeing in the last week or so. This is going to go from the war in Ukraine to the war in Europe soon. I don't know what Russia has and how strong their attempts at this is going to be, which is because their military is terrible. But if we have activity on the border with Belarus and Poland, and you also have Sweden and Finland are going to be joining NATO in the coming weeks. That is huge. That is huge. Sweden and Finland joining NATO is absolutely huge news. They've been in a non-military alliance together since the end of World War II. All right, and Russia's already moving soldiers to the border of Finland as well. So I want you guys to know, if this becomes the war in Europe soon, it's all the signs are here for it. All the signs are telling us that's where it's going. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that something happens. That's, like I said since the beginning, a wild card needs to happen. The only good news is Russia's actual military is terrible. Russia's actual military is terrible, which tells you what? What do they have to fall back on? I mean, if they're so confident in all these moves they're making, it's drawing concern because their military is terrible. I am not concerned with like Finland and Sweden's military is they're very capable of handling themselves. Finland alone can handle itself. Okay, the fact that they're joining NATO, then they'd also have the assistance of all the NATO countries, including the United States, because due to Article 5. Any attack on a NATO country, every country in NATO gets involved. That's why Ukraine's trying to join NATO so bad and join these Western alliances and become an independent country and be a part of that. So any attack on a NATO country is an immediate response by all of NATO. So that's happening. All right. Finland and Sweden are joining NATO. That's going to happen. Let's continue on.
Reportedly banned commercial traffic from Belarus and Russia. I don't really know why this is such a big deal to Belarus. Anyway, the Belarusian Security Council secretary has stated this to every one of these countries that are literally touching it. Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia will suffer destruction, death, and explosions if they attack Belarus. This escalated so quick. They're like, you know what? You can't bring your trucks and your vehicles inside of here. They're like, you know what? If you attack us, we're going to bring on death, destruction, and explosions. Which I don't know if Belarus does not. Can they comprehend the fact that if they attack Poland or any of these other countries, by the way, they're gonna have to deal with America. Yeah. All right. Next up. This is absolutely insane, by the way. Google Maps has now open access to Russia's military and strategic facilities. So now everyone can see the variety of Russian launchers and ICBMs, command posts, and secret landfills. The images you're currently seeing, the 4 years are currently seeing, you literally can go on Google Earth now, Google Maps, and see this stuff that weren't actually made to public. You couldn't see publicly, like Area 51. You can't go on Google Earth and actually look there. You just can't. It's not a thing. And I get it. Google, they have all these crazy satellite imagery, and of course the government's not going to allow them to see certain areas. But you know what? They said, you know what, Russia? We don't care. We're going to let everybody see what you have going on. Now, granted, that doesn't do a lot for our U.S. military or our intelligence. They already have all this stuff. We know what's going on. We literally watched the ship sink inside the sea live from a satellite feed. So I think America's doing all right. So you guys know that I use Atlas VPN. I don't just $1 or was the Kurdish neutralized. So there's some more. Let's go ahead and take that ladle, everybody. Let's start.
Again, this is Speak the Truth, Rob Turkla. Go support their channel. Give them a like and a subscribe.
Stir the pot. Let's just stir it. That side of the world right now is just a heaping hot mess, and it's just keeps stirring. Gets crazier and crazier. So the RT Network has given us another video where we get to consume and just completely enjoy together. Oh my gosh. And we get some insight of what really they're thinking there in Russia. So here is that video for you guys to gracefully enjoy.
Pay attention to their media and what they're saying. They've already been flirting with the fact that it's a war now. So they're already muddying the special operations narrative into that they're at war. And then they're at war with NATO. Okay, that's what their media is telling the Russian people, that they're at war with NATO and that the United States is like a puppet to Ukraine.
Скоординированная, продуманная информационная машина. Она будет эффективной всегда, если против нее не будет стоять такая же машина.
Она будет эффективной, пока не будет цензуры. О чем я говорю? Сколько уже? Лет 10, пока мы все это здесь не закроем, не запретим и не заменим своим. Ничего вы не сделаете никак, ни с каким Ютубом и с тем, что там происходит и говорится, пока вы не закроете Ютуб. Тем не менее, я надеюсь, что мы это все доведем до конца, это займет какое-то время. Но я совершенно с вами согласна, ни в коем случае нельзя допустить отката назад к вот этому, пусть у нас растут все цветы, вот этот наивняк, в котором мы жили 30 лет, ну просто наивняк, что нет, мы же за свободу. Мне говорили, ты что, ты хочешь как в Китае? Да. Хочу. Очень хочу, как в Китае. Прям мечтаю, чтобы в этом смысле у нас было как в Китае.
Oh, God. Fuck, dude.
As you saw within this video, she legitimately admits that she has been dreaming about censorship for the last 10 years and banning Western media in Russia from becoming like China by achieving total informational control. That's what they're looking to do. This is kind of crazy. This is coming from a lady that is literally on the news speaking to the people of Russia, telling them, you know what? You need to be censored. We need to control it all. Cut off Western media. Do the same thing as Iran and China and Syria.
She was in charge of Russia Today, that RT news. Now they're like all doing that. Oh man, it's not good.
And well, I wouldn't say Syria, and North Korea. That's nuts. Is that not nuts? I feel like we're getting a little bit of tidbit from these people every single day, and I'm so glad that it's nice and translated for us down at the bottom. I love it. All right, keep on moving on. So Russia has actually put 5 ships carrying 36 cruise missiles inside of the Black Sea. The 5 Russian arsenal ships have a general volley of no less than 36 cruise missiles, such as the Caliber system. And the U.S. military will now be training Ukrainian forces outside the country on the 155 howitzers and the 40,000 rounds. Remember the ones that they gave to them? It was inside of that $800 million transaction. The 155 millimeter howitzers and the 40,000 rounds were in that. So now they're training them. I was actually curious myself. Where are they going to train them at? They're going to take them to Poland? What are they going to do? Legitimately, as I am making this video, massive Russian artillery and MLRS fire is reported across the entire line of contact inside the east side of Ukraine. Zelensky's actually said the Russian offensive for the Donbass region is now beginning. So, you know what? We're going to start over here.
Hey, hold on, chat. Are we good? What the fuck was that? It just said my video ended. I just got the thing that said the video ended. Are we good? You guys see the chat? You guys see the video? We just lost like, oh my goodness, we just lost like 100 people. Are we good? Are we good? All right, let's see a yes. I want to make sure. I looked over at my streaming thing and it ended the stream for a second. Everyone good? We're good. All right, 100% good. That's all I needed to see. Let's continue on.
In Kharkiv, just because I kind of want to go down. So we know that there's some areas that the Russian forces have laid mines. You're looking at right here. We know that's the thing. They're trying to push through soft units in the northern side of Kharkiv. We talked about this the other day. So if you guys look over here, just outside of Chuihiv, all right, you have an element that's actually pushed all the way through. I don't really exactly know how they did this. They were actually they're able to split the line of the Ukrainian forces and go after this same route. I talked about this for the last couple of weeks. I thought they were going to try to take this main route right here, but it has been indicated and noted that the town of Peshny right here is actually still under the control of the Russian forces. Now, you have to also note that there's going to be a bridge inside of this area. Just because you can look at it and you can see the water on the map there. I mean, there's clearly going to be a bridge over this town. So this is going to be a key area for the Ukrainian military to get to. I don't know if they're going to push past it. I don't know if the Russians are going to push the bridge. If that is the case, that could be the reason why the Ukrainian forces did push down this way to try to get on the backside to take control of these routes. I don't know if that's a thing as of right now. I do know that there's roughly about 25,000 men, 25,000 Russian soldiers that are currently sitting about right here. I talked about this. They've been buildup has been happening. There's currently a ton of buildup inside this area, and the offensive is now happening in this region. So if anybody's wondering where the infamous Canadian sniper Wally was, well, here he is. Yes, he is currently alive, and you can see in this photo he is smiling, enjoying himself.
People that have been asking about the sniper, here's the update on that, the infamous Canadian sniper Wally.
Yes, and waiting for the battle on the eastern side of the country, which is now literally just kicked off as we are making this video, which is kind of nuts. If you're ever wondering why the Russians are having such a hard time getting through some of the fortified areas inside of Popsana, well, here's why. I'm going to show you. So here's Popsana. This area has been under extremely heavy fire, like artillery fire for quite a long time. And I'm gonna say right now, I've outlined the trench systems right now for you guys on these images, so you guys can actually see them a bit easier. They're clearly not going to be that color, but the 4 portions that you guys see right now are that's the scale of the trench systems that they currently have dug, and it's pretty insane if you think about it. And
you can even see their trenches you can see the trenches on Google Maps too, actually. Their trench systems that it's set up.
That's why it's so hard for the Russians to actually push through some of these areas and actually take control. So I do know that the Crimea right here, it has been, I've seen it on 2 different sources that are pretty, they're very honest. One has stated that the town of Crimea has been taken, and one has stated that there's currently a firefight or a tick going on in there. So the one that said it was currently taken has also said that the element that took the city has now started to push westernly, which I could see, because that same source that said that Crimea was also taken, the town of Torsky was taken just north of here. So town just north of Torsky, the town of Zarichi, which is on this main.
So Sloviansk, let's give you guys a bigger look at this area. That's in here. So this is the region that he's looking at to the east, a larger version of it, so you guys get your bearings. Here's Donetsk, Luhansk. He's looking in here. Right, to the east.
Main route, so one of these main little routes. I'm going to call it a main route. It could be a 2-lane road, but it is going to be a main route. So there was an element of Russian forces that actually came out of Tyranny, pushed south, and linked up with the forces that took over Crimea. This is not 100% true as of right now, but I am letting you guys know, because the 2 sources that I got it from, combining both their information, this is pretty much where I'm sitting at, and I do believe it to be true. I'm going to say it by tomorrow's video, I will be able to verify it, but I'm going to tell you guys in advance, I 100% wholeheartedly do believe this is true, just because I know where it's coming from. So you would have a force that's coming south out of Tyranny. They were able to get through there and then take over the town of Crimea and actually push. So I could see the Russians actually pushing through, linking up with the element that's coming south out of Tyranny, and then taking this town right here, which is a big deal, because guess where they're going to be heading towards? Sloviansk. We know this is one of the main areas they want to take. Also, if they were to take this town right here, if this is true, Kamenia, they're able to now go into the backside of Severodonetsk on these main routes. But the problem with this is they have not been able to push through Rubizhne this entire time. They do control the northern side of it, and have for the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So anyway, there's that. So the aerial images I'm about to show you guys are coming out of the town as of right here, Novosibirsk, which is right on the border of the eastern side of this country. Okay, so the bad as this photo looks, I'm fairly confident that the trench line reduced a significant amount of casualties that the Ukrainians would have taken on this side of our artillery strike. But I wanted to show you guys and share it with you guys, because you guys can see how hard the Russian military has been hitting these Ukrainian-held trench systems. So you can see that's going to be on one of the main routes. We'll go over here.
They've had trench systems since 2014 over here, though, y'all. People that are saying what they're fighting trench warfare now, they've had trenches dug in for 8 years here in this region. So some of these have been there for a minute.
The map. So Novosibirsk, which I'm sorry, but it's on the P66 route coming in. So they're going to have trench systems set up all along this route, trying to prevent them from actually utilizing it to get in. Now, we know they've been trying to do this for a few weeks now, but like I said, the Eastern Offensive has started. We're about to see some crazy stuff that we have not seen since, I truly, honestly believe, casualties since World War II. This is what I think it's going to be. So we're going to push back a little bit west, So there's actually 2 things going on. You have a Ukrainian force that's pushing from the north. So we know the Kharkiv area, they are pushing in. I don't know how long this is, or is they're even going to be able to. There's a couple different things I could see them doing here. I would assume, I know this is just assumptions, I would assume there's not a very large Russian force inside of this area. I'm just going to make that assumption. There could be one. I would assume there is one. Now, I could see the Russians, or the Ukrainians actually trying to push through to get control of this route for logistical reasons, all right, and then get all the way through and try to cut off this pipeline of stuff that's coming in from the north into Kupiansk, okay? So that's one way. Or I could see them peeling off, which is probably the more reasonable way, and actually pushing south and linking up here on this main route, and then taking this thing all the way over and trying to cut off the supply lines into the Kupiansk area, which would be facilitating all the men, as you can see inside of this area, the 25,000 men or so that are built up inside of the northern side of Izium. Now you have another element, another Ukrainian element that is actually pushing north as of right now. Out of Sloviansk, they have pushed north, and they're next to the town of Borova, as you can see right here. They have actually pushed forward, and this is another thing. If they can take this route that's going through, you guys can see there's going to be a bridge inside of this area. This is another crucial area. This is another main route coming out of Kupiansk that the Russians need to maintain. Now, if you guys look at it from the map, you can see, I know this is it's a fairly far distance, but if they're able to actually push through and somehow cut off this southern element, yes, there's a very large force of men here, but if they can cut off the supply lines, which we've seen them do in the past, the Ukrainian forces have done a very phenomenal job.
Listen, we've already gone through the full history of the Azov battalion. Anybody that's still propagating it or like talking about it as if it's like a main point to anything probably couldn't even point out on the map where the Azov battalion is right now. They probably couldn't do so.
On cutting off the Russian supply lines over in the north side of the country and the northeast side of the country. And that's pretty much what caused them to be forced to retreat, honestly. One of the main reasons. The Ukrainian forces have actually repelled 3 separate attacks by the Russian military down south of Izium. There was 3 attempts, as you can see right here. Each one of them was repelled and pushed back into the area just south of Izium over the last 24 hours. But as I am making this video, currently, I'm telling you guys right now, there's a very large-scale offensive that is going on by the Russian forces in this side of the country. So keep note of these main routes, not these thick black lines right here, but these ones right here. These main routes. Any of these routes need to get compromised by the Ukrainian forces for them to have any sort of chance on this side of the country from not being taken over. I do not personally believe, as of right now, that the Russian military has the might to push through, but we're all going to see. I mean, this is going to be something we're going to note over the next 2 to 3 days. We should see them like we did in the northern side of the country when they first made the offensive through. This time, they at least built up a massive force and are going to be able to make a blitzkrieg movement through a certain area of the country. I don't know which way they're going to go. That's why I'm telling you guys, you need to stay on this channel and need to stay tuned to see what we actually... I think it's going to change by the morning time. 12 hours from now, this entire map should look completely different. Russian forces may have been repelled in certain areas. They may have taken some areas.
They were repelled in the Mykolaiv region already. They made an advance from Kherson to Mykolaiv, and they've already been pushed back and actually retreated in the Stanislav over here. They already tried to make one push up into Mykolaiv, and they shelled it with multiple launch rocket system trucks and failed here to the south. I haven't seen any. Let's check our list and see if there's any newer reports from the east. But they were as soon as we went live a few hours ago. Well, it was more than a few hours ago now. Russians were making their second offensive. It is now 7 a.m. The sun has risen on the 55th day of the Russian invasion of the capital city of Kyiv. It has been more than 1 month, yet Ukraine continues to live and fight on. So we're getting the morning reports now. Morning reports are coming out. We got some thumbs up. Some pictures posted from the Defensive Ukraine account. Keep going. The governor of Belgorod once again reported the shelling of the border village of Golovichko by Ukraine. According to him, there is destruction and a woman was hurt. She's being assisted. Governor of Belgorod is reporting the shelling of the border village of, how do you say this? Golovichno. 15 minutes ago. Regardless of the number, so this is from Zelensky. Russian forces have launched a large-scale offensive in the Battle of Donbass. A significant portion of Russian forces are concentrated in the region. Regardless of the number of forces we will fight, we will never cease to defend Ukraine. We will never surrender any part of Ukraine, and we do not seek to take any land that is not ours. This is posted from the account, so we have videos. Let's get the translation. Dmitrivka is one of the settlements of the Kyiv region liberated by the occupiers. Russian forces kept the village under occupation for about 3 weeks. Let's see where this is on the map first. Dmitrievka to the west. Excuse me. Wow. Directions to the east of Kyiv. Here's Chernihiv. Almost like between Kyiv and Sumy. Nearly like halfway between Kyiv and Sumy here. Sumy, the border city to the east. On Ukraine's eastern side.
Думав, що прямо коло фіртки стоїть танк і лупасить прямо із-під мене.
Буряти. Вони були пожарені такі, просто красавчики, по-другому тут не назвеш. Такі моменти, дивились би і дивились.
Треба їх видавити зовсім із Маріуполя, із Донбасу, із Крима. Їх треба звідси видавити. І зовсім, я так рахую, що Росія це не люди.
So that's from village of Dmitrievka, halfway between Kyiv and Sumy. New heavy weapons have arrived in Ukraine at unprecedented speed. Russians shaping operations in Donbass to more aggressive plans. So weapons arrived in Ukraine at unprecedented speed. Let's see, John. I don't think John's posted anything yet today. Just don't even want to watch that. So here's day 54. So it'll be day 55 already. We're almost on day 60. This is John Sweeney, old reporter from the BBC. He's got a Taking on Putin podcast, and he's reporting from Kyiv every day. All right, he's just posted a diary and his thoughts. We've been watching him for over 50 days now. This is just like we have Rob from Speak the Truth and other sources that we've been watching since day one. So this is Rob. Goodness, John Sweeney. All right, you can follow him on Twitter.
Kyiv Diary, day 54 of Vladimir Putin's war. The electricity here in Kyiv is still on. You know the rest. I'm still wearing my lucky orange hat. 4 missiles this morning.
Lucky orange hats in the chat.
Morning into the western city of Lviv. There's no way this kind of stuff is going to win the war. Ukrainian air defense is very good for the big cities. I believe these missiles hit the outskirts and they can get through, but that's not going to win this war. The interesting thing is what's happening right now in the Battle of Donbass. So, having been kicked out of Kyiv, having lost the battle for Kyiv, the Russian army regrouped, and we've all been waiting for an offensive in which they were going to push the Ukrainians down in the south and east and secure their places they've already got in 2014 in the Donbass. That hasn't happened. Instead, amazingly, fantastically, the Russian army is going backwards in Donbass. So the city to take note of is it's Ukrainians pronounce it Kharkiv. It looks as though it's spelled Kharkiv. But in Kharkiv, what's happening is that the Russians tried to surround the Ukrainians. There's a place called Izium, and their attacks have kept on being stalled all the time. And last night and this morning, the news is that the Russian army have gone backwards and the Ukrainians are taking ground. They are effectively...
And so now that information is going to be old now. So keep this in mind. This is old information. We have to wait for new information to come out in the next couple hours. We're going to be live here still for another hour and a half, 2 hours, waiting for information to come out on any information on Russia's movements overnight, because again, they began their second offensive overnight. So we're going to be live here. Hope you guys are locked in. You got your snacks, got everything you need. But that information, I wanted you to remind you, it's only 15 hours ago, but it's already old information that he's talking about. So keep that in the back of your mind while listening.
And their attacks have kept on being stalled all the time. And last night and this morning, the news is that the Russian army have gone backwards and the Ukrainians are taking ground. They are effectively encircling the encirclers. It's too early for me to give a full-throated laugh, but the news is good. Meanwhile, friction and fractures keep on occurring with the Kremlin's propaganda machine. Love from Kyiv.
All right. That's 15 hours ago. Hasn't posted a new one yet this morning. Just other than the other big news that Malcolm Nance has joined the fight in Ukraine. Right? He's been on the International Legion for a month now. So even though it's just being reported, he's been there. Since the beginning of the war in Ukraine, up to 30% of infrastructure has been destroyed. This was announced by Infrastructure Minister Alexander Kubrakov. About $100 billion will be needed to rebuild it. More than 8,000 kilometers of roads and 300 bridges are affected. Wow. Images exclusivas de los trailers. What does this translate? Exclusive images of the workshops recaptured from Azovstal. So this is the Azovstal plant and Russian forces in it. I'll pull up some more clips to, you guys haven't seen the attack on the Azovstal plant. It's been getting attacked daily, but this is in Mariupol, and it's slowly, Mariupol is going to be all red soon. In the next coming days, this is just going to be red. There's nothing that can be done to help the forces in here. They're asking for help. The various battalions that are in there, including the Azov battalion, have put out cries for help, but there's not much that can be done here to assist them. And so this is in the Azovstal steel plant. Russian forces just going building to building. They're going building to building and bombing it and hitting it daily. Oops. All right, here is for 14 hours ago, video of Azov forces attacking Russians in Mariupol. Seems like a dozen plus. This is in Mariupol, the city that I was just talking about that likely won't be in Ukrainian controlled for much longer. I believe it's even less now on to the western side of Mariupol. No audio here for this video. But you're looking at the video from the Azov battalion here in Mariupol fighting Russian forces. Wow, look at that, dude. You can see the soldier threw lobbing grenades over the wall. Oh my goodness. Oh no. All right. I just realized what that was there. There were Russian soldiers that were taking cover on the other side of that wall. They were taking cover right there, and they were just dropping grenades on the other side of the wall. I'm gonna stop it before we get to that part again, but if you missed that, that's what that was, and why they're just dropping grenades on the other side. There's the Azov battalion. They're fighting Russia in Mariupol. These are the Azov forces. And then right here is just Russian. This is all Russian troops taking cover down the other side of the wall, and they're just dropping grenades on the other side. Here's the drone footage from the Azovstal fortified area in Mariupol. This is that steel plant, what it looks like now. Not much left of that steel plant. You can see, look at it, just all full of ash. It's all gray and shit like this because of the ash and the smoke that's constantly going. So it's just like everything looks white and gray and dead because of the ashes and the smoke. This is the Chechens. This is on the 17th after liberated an urban area in Mariupol. The Chechen force is there. What is this? Who's that guy? Is that Cade? Is he just got a... No, that's not Cade.
Ту задачу, которую нам оставляет командование и, естественно, Рамзан Ахматович, мы выполняем на все 100%.
They had a grandpa come and give him a speech. That's their overall. That's Kadyrov. No, Kadyrov doesn't have a white beard. He's like following him. He's like back in here. That's Oz. Yeah, that's a TikTok unit, guys, in the Chechen forces. After liberating, and that's what their narrative is, that they're liberating Mariupol. 6 million Ukrainians have limited access to drinking water. UNICEF Ukraine on April 18 said Russia's war has devastated water and electricity networks in Ukraine, leaving an additional 4.6 million people with limited access to water. That was Chechen forces doing a ceremony after quote unquote liberating Mariupol. That's their narrative. But they just took more of it. This is Mariupol, and the recent map is there's going to be even more red to the west here. And this is the steel plant, and we just saw a video of what that looks like now. So it's likely going to be all red down here in Mariupol soon, chat. There's a TikTok unit. Yeah, Kadyrov, they post TikToks all the time. That's what the nickname of the Chechen forces for Russia, the TikTok unit. They post TikToks all the time. Still waiting for further information on how the Russian advance and report went overnight. The U.S. State Department does not rule out the possibility of declaring Russia a sponsor of terrorism. Such a move would put an end to international relations of Russia. At the moment, North Korea, Iran, Syria, and Cuba are recognized as sponsors of terrorism. U.S. State Department officials are looking at every tool available to them to hold Russia accountable for the war in Ukraine, including the possibility of labeling Russia a state sponsor of terrorism. According to a senior administration official, the process could take weeks before a determination is made. So that hasn't happened yet, but they're looking to make that a thing. I don't know why they're not already. All clear in the Mykolaiv Oblast. This was an hour ago. Let's also look at, we also have a great video, again, from 1420, the YouTube channel from Russia. Oops. Let's pull this up here. And he asked, while we wait for more information to come out from the Eastern Front and the Southern, Let's watch a 1420 video. Where do Russians get information from? They've been doing a great job. Just some of their videos are very blunt. I don't know. The one video I saw he posted the other day was like, wow, the question that he asked. This is a Russian channel, and he's asking basic everyday Russians questions. So where do you Russians get information from? He's been doing a great job.
Какие источники информации вы используете?
В основном Telegram, Instagram, TikTok.
А телевидение?
Нет.
А из зарубежных источников?
TikTok считается? Радио мое. В основном радио мое.
А телевидение?
Телевидение редко.
А из зарубежных источников?
Не слушаю ничего. Ну вот то, что в Яндексе есть за новостями, последние новости. Либо Telegram.
Телевидение не смотрите?
Нет, телевизор не смотрю вообще.
А из зарубежных источников? Из зарубежных источников?
TikTok.
Телевизор, радио.
А из зарубежных источников?
Ничего.
Использую Первый канал, Instagram, ВК, YouTube.
Из зарубежных источников что-нибудь?
Ничего.
Медуза, BBC на русском. И третье, иногда смотрю рифмы и панчи.
А из зарубежных источников?
Из зарубежных, ну если можно считать BBC типа в переводе.
Чаще всего просто смотрю СМИ, интернет-СМИ.
А из зарубежных источников?
Нет, зарубежные источники.
Интерпол. Телеграм. Все.
Телевидение?
Телевидение? Не знаю, только если РБК. В основном это соцсети. Тот же самый ВКонтакте, Телеграм и YouTube. Но в основном, конечно, это Телеграм, потому что...
YouTube is vital right now. YouTube, they have people that are really seeking info. They can get a VPN and do whatever, but YouTube is crucial.
В Телеграме наиболее свободный доступ к информации, и он наиболее открыт для аудитории. И там нет такого контроля со стороны властей и прочего. И еще там комментарии открытые, так что люди тоже могут высказать свое мнение и что-то рассказать. Поэтому можно узнать еще больше, чем в посте, который там будет в том же самом Телеграме.
А из зарубежных источников?
WarLeaks, канал на Ютубе.
Wow, so, yeah, WarLeaks, yeah, he's seeing this guy's getting the information he needs.
Редакция, Парфенон и хороший этот, не помню, как его зовут.
Варламов.
Да.
Ну, стараемся смотреть вообще со всех телевидения тоже, узнавать что-то оттуда.
Со всех каналов, да. Общность какую-то собираем.
Свою точку зрения, да, оттуда.
Я смотрю новости, смотрю разные соцсети по типу Ютуба и, естественно, сама гуглю что-либо.
Каких-нибудь зарубежных источников смотрите?
Зарубежные смотрю редко, в основном, если это вот конкретная информация, которая есть только за рубежом.
Интернет, YouTube.
Какие-нибудь каналы смотрите?
Каналы 26 РБК, Моя планета. Ну и все, по-моему.
А из зарубежных? Какие-нибудь новости, газеты?
Нет, не смотрю.
Телевизор не использую, в основном интернет. Интернет?
Может, какие-нибудь каналы смотрите?
Нет.
Телевидение?
Нет. У нас даже телевизора нет. Ну, он есть, спутниковый.
В основном интернет, новости, редко.
А из зарубежных источников?
Зарубежные еще реже, возможно, статьи, да.
Телевидение?
Ну, телевидение тоже иногда бывает.
А из зарубежных источников?
Из зарубежных? Ну, не пользуюсь.
Интернет. Телевизор не смотрю.
Телеграм-каналами пользуюсь некоторые, чтобы использовать источники информации, которые мне интересны. YouTube.
Зарубежные источники?
Зарубежные источники не использую.
Телевидение, естественно, все новости смотрим. Ну, честно говоря, Первый канал очень сильно переживаем за всю ситуацию. Родственники в разных местах у нас находятся, и страшно.
So that's from the 1420 channel where the Russians get their information from. A lot of TikTok, YouTube, like social media. So doesn't seem much different than Americans where they get their information from. I don't know, a lot of y'all get people. I know people that are like, where do you get your news from? TikTok, Facebook. All right, continuing on. Nothing new yet coming out of information from the Russian advancements. Let's Google. The Guardian will have an update. Russia's offensive in eastern Ukraine has begun. 2 hours ago, New York Times, Al Jazeera. Russia, Ukraine live news. Russia's eastern offensive has begun. Ukrainian leader says his forces will fight back against Russia's offensive in the east, while Russia governor reports shelling of Belgorod from Ukrainian side. I suppose that would be the latest news, would be 20 minutes ago, Russia's Belgorod attacked from Ukraine per their governor. All right, the governor of Russia's Belgorod region has said one person has been injured in the shelling originating from the, quote, Ukrainian side. There was shelling from the Ukrainian side of the Russian village of Golovechino in the Gravionorsky district. They use Telegram, yo. That's the other one, is Telegram. TikTok and Telegram. There is destruction. I will give more detailed information later. This is from the April 1st fire at an oil depot in the Belgorod region. So that is the only latest update, was Russia's Belgorod attacked per their governor. Still waiting to see any more information. Here's Belgorod in Russia. Okay. Here's Kharkiv. So it's just slightly northeast of Kharkiv. Two hours ago, Biden to meet with allies on Ukraine. U.S. President Joe Biden will convene a meeting of allies to discuss the Ukraine conflict Tuesday, the White House said, after Kyiv announced Russia had launched a major new offensive in the east of the country. An official with the AFP news agency that the meeting is, quote, part of our regular coordination with allies and partners in support of Ukraine, without naming who would be included in the video call. The White House said the meeting would also cover efforts to hold Russia accountable. Explosions heard in Mykolaiv. This was 2 hours ago. Air raid sirens have been activated in Mykolaiv with several reports of explosions heard. Mykolaiv. To the west of Kherson, northwest. All undercover. Mykolaiv Mayor Alexander Sienkichev, wrote on Facebook account an hour ago, which should have been 4 hours or 3 hours ago then. On Monday afternoon, he wrote that Russian missiles that hit 3 homes, 2 of them can't be restored anymore. It's only a miracle that none of the residents received serious damage.
The Russian Ministry of Defense says this destroyed building was a Ukrainian weapons factory in the southwest outskirts of the capital, Kyiv. Moscow says the plant made anti-aircraft and anti-ship missiles. People living nearby say they heard at least 3 large explosions early Friday morning.
We parked the car and the 2 rockets hit at 1 a.m. I did not realize that there are 2 rockets coming in. But when I went out afterwards, I waited indoors for some time, fearing more shelling. We saw the 3rd one coming. It damaged the car, tore out the tires, hit the windows and walls. People suffered too. The walls fell out.
The attack came hours after Russia said its Black Sea Fleet flagship, the Moskva, had sunk while being towed back to port after a fire caused an explosion on board. The Ukrainian military said it was responsible, having targeted the vessel with Ukrainian-made Neptune missiles. People gathered at a memorial ceremony for the ship in the port city of Sevastopol in Russian-annexed Crimea. The Moskva was the largest Russian naval vessel to have sunk in action since World War II.
Even for those who have not been there, Moskva was a symbol for everyone. Symbol of our power, our hope, the revival of the fleet in the 90s. It is a symbol of engineering and scientific achievements. Force of
Hey, John, thank you so much.
Our arms.
The Ukrainian army says it repelled Russian army advances on at least 2 towns in the east of the country. Russia has redirected its forces from Kyiv in an effort to seize more territory in the Donbass region. Volunteers help Ukrainian soldiers pack food to be distributed to some of the many thousands of people fleeing or those still living in the worst affected areas.
I stay here because it's my home, and we help people delivering food, chemistry, and our town just destroying. Voice not good. I don't know what to say. Okay. I want to move. Okay.
This drone footage shows destroyed residential buildings in Mariupol. The besieged port city on the Azov Sea has suffered 7 weeks of bombardment by Russian forces and pro-Russian separatists. Repeated attempts at securing humanitarian corridors to rescue thousands of people trapped inside have failed. The mayor of the city estimates thousands of civilians may have been killed in the fighting. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense says Russia has for the first time used long-range bombers to attack the city.
Russian occupants keep carrying out aerial strikes on Mariupol. They use long-range bombers. The enemy's land forces are trying to capture the seaport.
The strike on what the Russian Defense Ministry describes as a weapons factory on the outskirts of Kyiv is the first major strike by Russian forces on a target around the capital city since Russian forces left the area more than 2 weeks ago. Major military operations now, for the time being, have moved east, where there are increasing reports of an effort by the Russian military to close in around the strategically important city of Slavyansk. The UN says that more than 4.7 million people have fled the fighting, and with no indication of any de-escalation, that number is expected to rise. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera, Kyiv.
Good reporting. Hey, Al Jazeera does a great job, by the way, for their reportings. If you guys are seeking more news with less opinion pieces, I should say, and more like, I mean, I'm sure they have their op-eds. Just stay away from op-eds, honestly. That's what you need to stay away from. Unless it's coming from somebody that you personally care about what they have to say, or you trust their opinion. All right, let's do a quick viewer check-in. Comment where you guys are tuning in from, what city, what state. Welcome. I'm your host of this coverage, Andrew Mercado from Mercado Media Productions. Welcome. Let me know where you guys are watching from. I'm from Minnesota, the state of Minnesota. I've been live streaming current events, both myself in person on the ground and doing this here from at home for about 2 years now. I started in May of 2020, and so I'm here. We're growing the YouTube channel now. We have nearly 100,000 followers on our Facebook page, and now it's time to grow the YouTube channel because Facebook is doing Facebook things. All right, that's all that needs to be said. I think everybody here on YouTube fully understands the problems with Facebook. Of course, I'm still creating content with Facebook, and I always will because that's where we started, but I also want to increase the amount of people that tune in on the YouTube channel. So that's why we're here. Welcome, everybody. We got Russia tuned in. Good. Arizona, AZ, St. Paul, Minnesota. Welcome. East Los Angeles, Canada. We got New Orleans is tuned in. Welcome. Dallas, Texas. How you doing? Tacoma, Washington. Welcome. This is a viewer-supported, viewer-funded stream. I don't have any sponsors at this time or anything like that. So if you guys are watching, this is truly independent news here. I still will be. Even if I do get a sponsor, I'll make sure that I still get to say what I need to say and make sure that I do what I need to do the way I'm doing it. How you doing, Florida? Welcome. Adelaide, Australia. How you doing, Netherlands? Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you guys have chose independent media to tune in here. Let's type in. I can just give you guys the rundown again if you just started tuning in recently. I'm glad you guys are here. And again, make sure you like the video and subscribe. There's 708 likes. We have a goal of 1,000 every stream. There's 681 tuned in, or excuse me, 1,681 tuned in. You guys could definitely get that goal complete. Watching from Virginia, welcome. Russia is continuing to launch artillery strikes against Ukrainian troops in the east, where Putin is planning a renewed offensive. United Kingdom Defense Intelligence. Russia is also deploying combat and support equipment from Belarus towards East Ukraine, including near Kharkiv and Severodonetsk. We're waiting for further reports of the eastern offensive, or the secondary eastern offensive from Russia. Luhansk Oblast Governor, over 100,000 residents are left without gas, electricity, according to Serhiy Haidai. 37 residents in the region are cut off from gas due to the Russian shelling, while 32 settlements lack electricity. Ursula von der Leyen, who is the president of EU, is to sanction Sberbank, but they're not going to impose a direct ban on Russian oil. Ursula von der Leyen told German newspaper Bild that the EU isn't considering an outright ban on Russian oil, as the move will lead to shortages, rising prices, and ultimately strengthen Putin. All right, Russia launched more long-range attacks with air raids and missile strikes across Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, along with other major cities on Saturday. That's the one thing we forgot to look into, was the attacks in Kyiv and that repair facility that was hit on Saturday. Let's see if there's any videos of it. We can look at the Dnipro video again. That's from the 16th. Another cemetery of shot cars in Kyiv. Let me see. Let's type in Kyiv. Might need to go to the Google. Tank repair factory in Kyiv. Let's look that up quick. The tank repair factory in Kyiv. This was from a couple days ago, but I wasn't live on Sunday to cover this. Russia hits tank repair factory in Kyiv. High-precision, long-range, air-based weapons destroyed production buildings of armored plant in Kyiv. Russia said on Saturday that its forces hit a tank repair factory in Kyiv, Ukraine's capital, and a military facility in the southern city of Nikolaev near the Black Sea with a high-precision, long-range weapon from the air. High-precision, long-range, air-based weapons destroyed production buildings of armored plant in Kyiv and military equipment repair facility in Nikolaev, the defense ministry said in a statement. During the day, 16 Ukrainian targets were hit by high-precision, air-based missiles, including missile and artillery weapon depot, anti-aircraft weapon storage base, military equipment, and weapons concentration, it added. Let's reduce that back down. We had trolls for a little bit, y'all. I had to up some things. We had for real trolls for a while. Also, missile attacks Monday morning in Lviv, which is the western city, the westernmost city in Ukraine, 40 miles away from the Polish border. There's multiple videos and reports of it. Lviv, Ukraine, near the Polish border. I'm trying to find this one. This specific one. Here is Lviv. This was Monday morning. So I haven't seen any video, or we're waiting for further on updates from this morning. But here's Lviv, 40 miles from the Polish border to the western. Did I say east? If I said east, I apologize. But it's to the west of Ukraine. Biggest city to the west. Where is it now? This is Monday morning. Yeah, Margaret, information's a little tighter just because of operational security reasons. Ukraine really cracked down the government on releasing video. Why didn't they destroy all the factories in the first day? Because it's a war of attrition, and they need this to drag out. So they didn't hit all these targets right away. They're gonna continue hitting targets through their missile capabilities, both soft targets and hard targets. And then here's some of the videos after that on the ground. Russian cruise missile attack on Lviv. I haven't seen this video yet. Oh, it shows the sky. That's another common thing that sources are doing, are censoring the buildings, or are blocking out the buildings so they can't see where it is. Railway infrastructure is possibly the target of Lviv rocket attack, but no one was injured. Again, this is Monday morning. More from this is more from Lviv. Monday morning. Still waiting for anything to come out today. All from Lviv. Here's more angles. Newly released footage shows the Russian caliber missiles impact in Lviv. You can easily see the missiles descend and strike their target. 7 people were killed in this attack. These are the first deaths in the city since the start of the Ukraine war.
Там залізничний вроді.
Залізничний вон вокзал.
Он ще одна летить пиздець. Вон.
Wow.
Та хвиля, що ти шугаєшся?
How do you casually just, I mean, when they're looking out your window and seeing this in your city, what would, like, I would, dude. I mean, I guess after nearly 60 days, but
Звідки воно летіло, сука?
Справа.
you're just seeing buildings getting hit in the middle of your city. You're watching the missiles from the sky.
Що там таке?
Не знаю, дивись, ще не летить. Куча птахів піднялася.
Там ще щось.
Бляха, срані голуби. Над нами. Он летить.
Де?
Вон ще летить.
There, oh my god, dude, what?
Не шугайся, то знову хвиля. Зараз буде.
А що там таке? Що вони бомблять?
То скільки, 3 вже?
3 вже.
Це з Білорусі. Якщо виходить це вверх, це з Білорусі. Ще одна летить. Зараз знову буде хвиля.
Why is there no air siren? That's what I'm wondering. I've wondered that since I saw the first video. You can see it, like, that's just scary. You watch it come right out of the sky.
Що там таке?
Не знаю, дивись, ще не летить. Куча птахів піднялася.
Там ще щось.
Бляха, срані голуби. Над нами. Он летить.
Да.
Вон ще летить.
That's the missile right here. They're following it with the camera.
Не шугайся.
Missiles were too quick. Those caliber missiles are fast, aren't they? Doesn't the caliber missile beat the air defense? This is another thing they were doing too. They were testing these in the Sea of Japan a couple days ago. Okay, let's try it. How powerful is a Caliber cruise missile here?
The Caliber missile is a family of Russian cruise missiles developed by the Nevada Design Bureau. The Caliber missile family includes well over a dozen different variants, each with its own launch platform, range, target profile, speed, as well as a length ranging from 6 to 9 meters and a 990-pound warhead or nuclear payload. Russia intends to install Caliber missiles on all new nuclear and non-nuclear submarines, corvettes, frigates, and larger surface ships. Caliber provides even modest platforms such as corvettes with significant offensive capability, and with the use of the land attack missile, all platforms have a significant ability to hold distant fixed ground targets at risk using conventional warheads. The use of Caliber missile on Ukraine. During the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, several unconfirmed reports indicated...
Yeah, and this video is from March 23rd, so now it is confirmed, and we're seeing it. So, this video is from March 23rd, just keep that in mind.
Widespread usage of Caliber missiles in strikes against strategic, non-combat targets across Ukraine. The confirmed reports include the attack of Nizhyn plant that repairs Ukrainian armored vehicles damaged in fighting, which occurred on 19th March 2022. The launch was from the waters of the Black Sea. The other confirmed report includes the attack on Ukrainian fuel storage center in Kostiantynivka near the Black Sea port of Mykolaiv on March 20. This was launched from the Caspian Sea. The effectiveness of Caliber missile. The anti-ship variant are designed to skim low over the sea to avoid detection. Benefiting from vector thrust nozzles on the ship launch versions, the active radar homing Caliber missiles are also designed to perform evasive maneuvers instead of making a straight line approach. As they close within short range of an enemy ship, the missiles accelerate from their cruising speed of Mach 0.8 to Mach 3, and then descend to just 4.6 meters in altitude. Achieving this speed means it is difficult to be intercepted by existing missile defense systems. Also, they rely on satellite navigation as well as inertial and terminal radar guidance. Because they are capable of performing very high-angle defensive high-speed maneuvers in contrast to the common linear flight path of other anti-ship cruise missiles, it is difficult for Ukrainian defense systems to intercept them.
It's wild. I remember watching all of these. I've seen all of these clips that they're showing. Because again, this is from the 23rd of March.
They have a better target penetration characteristics than lighter subsonic cruise missiles, such as the BGM-109 Tomahawk. Flying low and fast, the Caliber can evade enemy radar systems and deliver an accurate and devastating payload. Several claims have been made about the maximum range of Russia's Caliber land attack versions as well. The range is estimated to be 1,400 kilometers by the U.S. Department of Defense and nearly 1,500 kilometers by Russian Defense Minister Serhiy Shoigu. Following its first operational firing in October 2015, Russian Ministry of Defense statement suggested a range of 2,000 kilometers, while a December 2015 Office of Naval Intelligence report gathered a number of Russian statements projecting ranges between 1,500 to 2,500 kilometers. So no matter what the maximum range is, but it is no less than 1,400 kilometers.
Wow.
It is capable in damaging or eliminating Ukrainian radar installations, command and control centers, and airfields in Ukraine. Russia will likely continue their standoff missile attacks, and the Caliber will remain a significant weapon in their arsenal. It is the mainstay of Russian long-range naval strike capabilities for the foreseeable future. The variant is comparable to the US Tomahawk, while the anti-ship variant's terminal supersonic sprint could make it a more lethal weapon.
So speaking of that, let's look at the Tomahawk versus the Caliber missile. So we're looking into this because of the missile attacks in Lviv Monday morning. So we're getting some background. I mean,
Он летить. One shell.
We watched him land. That was in Lviv on Monday. So we're just getting some background on these missiles, so I understand what they are. So this is the Tomahawk versus the Caliber cruise missile.
In this episode, we would like to discuss which cruise missile is more powerful, Tomahawk or Caliber. Since the early 1990s, the United States has relied on Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from their warships and submarines. The missile, with a flight capability of 550 miles per hour, has been involved in wars in the Middle East, North Africa, the former Yugoslavia, and Afghanistan. The first cruise missile was launched from the USS Merrill, DD-976, an American destroyer ship, in March 1980. In June of the same year, the UGM-109, the underwater version of the Tomahawk system, ran an armament test. The development of the military project lasted for 2 more years until 1983, when the missile system passed into service. The Tomahawk cruise missiles were first used in Iraq during 1991 and became a symbol for the American idea of non-contact warfare. When the U.S. first tried out the Tomahawk missiles during the Operation Desert Storm, the Western media strongly praised its combat results. However, in 1992, the New York Times and the Washington Post published an official report on the U.S. Department of Defense, which described the lessons learned by the U.S. military during the Gulf War and showed the real state of events, including the true capabilities of the Tomahawk. Tomahawks can strike targets at distances over 1,000 miles away, making them very popular. However, now the Tomahawk has a strong competitor from Russia, the Caliber missile.
And that is what we're seeing. Though that's what you're seeing in Lviv. That's what Russia has, and it's stronger than the one we have.
It is regarded as an essential and distinguished capability for a naval power to have the ability to attack long-distance strategic targets located in the depths of the land. Until 2015, it was thought that only the USA and Britain had this capability, since they had Tomahawk cruise missiles. However, the United States and the United Kingdom are no longer the only nations with long-range cruise missile engaging capability. Russian military forces first used the Caliber missile system in Syria. The missiles were launched from warships and submarines at stationary targets. On October 7, 2015, the Russian Gepard-class frigate Dagestan and the 3 small Buyan-class corvettes sailing in the Caspian Sea fired 26 missiles at 11 ISIS targets in 3 Syrian governorates, Al-Raqqa, Idlib, and Aleppo. The target distance was over 1,500 kilometers. The targets included weapon factories, command centers, ammunition warehouses, weapons storages, fuel depots, and terrorist training camps. On 20 November 2015, the Caspian Fleet warships launched another 18 Caliber cruise missiles at 7 terrorist targets in the same regions. The Caliber missile system has been tested in real combat conditions. It is too early to estimate the cost of one missile and one launch, but the
that was someone that asked how much it costs, so they don't know yet.
Russian cruise missile has shown strong potential. Caliber missiles are currently deployed on Russian Navy Kilo class.
This video was taken on January 13th, so a little over a month before the invasion began.
Marines and more modern types, including the Akula, Lada, and Yasin classes. They are also deployed on frigates and corvettes, but so far have not been fitted on larger vessels, though such upgrades may eventually take place. While a Russian Gepard-class frigate is armed with only 8 Caliber missiles, a missile-armed destroyer would be able to carry dozens. There are well over a dozen different variants in the Caliber missile family, varying in launch platform, range, target profile, and speed, varying in length from 6 to 9 meters, but all packing a 990-pound warhead or a nuclear payload. The land attack variants, the 3M14T and the 3M14K, appear to lack the boost to Mach 3 on terminal approach. In compensation, the inertia-guided missiles have a range of between 1,000 and 1,500 kilometers.
Wow.
Guidance is INS, GPS, and digital scene matching area correlation, DISMAC.
Mach 3, a range of between 1,000 and 1,500 kilometers. For Americans, let's do that. 1,500. Come on, where's to miles? That's 932 miles. 932 miles, 1,500 kilometers. That's a distance.
Whereby images are taken during the flight by an onboard camera for comparison with stored ones. The Russian Navy has been planning to upgrade 3M14 caliber cruise missile with a longer-range caliber M variant with a maximum firing range of more than 4,500 kilometers. Now let's see the Tomahawk missile. The Tomahawk is a long-range, all-weather, subsonic cruise missile primarily used by the United States Navy and Royal Navy. Tomahawk cruise missile is capable of navigation by an inertial navigation system, GPS-enabled precision strike, flies at very low altitude, and reprogrammable during flight to change target. Guidance is GPS, INS, terrain contour matching, TERCOM navigation.
Haven't they started taking these things down with the Ukrainian forces with javelins? I want to look that up. I want to say I've seen a report of that, of the Ukrainian troops shooting them down with javelins.
Compares the terrain underneath the cruise missile with mapping data stored inside the missile to detect deviations from its nominal trajectory. 15 alternative pre-programmed targets can be held before flight or acceptance of a new target in flight, delay and loiter option, battle damage assessment via two-way data link. Tomahawk missile can take reconnaissance pictures after reaching a designated area and send them to the HQ via SATCOM and wait for the instructions.
Stingers are taking them out. Okay, it's Stingers, not javelins. I'll look that up shortly.
Loitered until the target is clear to engage. With DISMAC, digital scene mapping, a picture of a discrete target can be uploaded in a confined region and have Tomahawk specifically find and hunt them down. With the modification of Block 5, Tomahawk has increased capabilities, which integrate designed to compare favorably with Washington's prolific but aging Tomahawk cruise missiles. Whereas the original caliber 3M14 traded performance blows with the Tomahawk's Block 4 version.
Do you think that NATO and the United States is developing one stronger than this then now? If this is stronger and better than the Tomahawk, or do you think the United States is just going to stick with the Tomahawk, the UK and the United States? Man.
Revision in what amounts to an approximate draw, tilted slightly in Caliber's favor.
Covered it in his live this morning.
Caliber M drastically outranges its U.S. counterpart at 4,500 against 1,700 kilometers. The most significant advantage of the 3M14T and its family is that they can be fired from a wider variety of smaller ships than the American ones that usually carry the Tomahawk, making it easier to deploy. It is also being developed to fire from fixed land bases, vehicles, and aircraft. Caliber may not have some of the advanced loitering and interactive data link capabilities of the current Tomahawk.
US already has one in the works, I'm sure.
But that might well make it cheaper to mass produce, in addition to parts commonality with family variants. Where Tomahawk likely outclasses Caliber is ECM capability. While Tomahawk's 4-block revision included electronic countermeasures, the Caliber family is relatively susceptible to jamming techniques.
Oh, so you hear that? So the Caliber is susceptible to jamming techniques.
With the modification, Block 5 Tomahawk has improved its capabilities. Its networking capabilities are beyond that of most operational cruise missiles by a long margin.
So it sounds like a counter defense against a Tomahawk missile is more difficult than a counter defense against a Caliber missile, though.
It is impossible.
So there's definitely trade-off between the two, it sounds like.
To make a complete comparison between two missiles with limited knowledge about Caliber cruise missiles at this stage.
I wonder how much they're going to have now. This was at this stage on January 13th. And now we've just been seeing them getting used left and right in Ukraine. We're seeing them getting used constantly. So
the Tomahawk has over 30 years of proven combat effectiveness, while the Kaliber only appeared in 2012. The Tomahawk has been regularly upgraded and improved and is renowned for its accuracy. But Russia does not make public the accuracy or reliability of the Kaliber missiles it has fired.
And they never will.
Anyhow, Russian Navy has gained a strategic capability with Kaliber cruise missiles.
So that's their Kaliber. I keep saying caliber. It's the Kaliber. Let's look at this report before we refresh the timeline. This is the city of Dnipro yesterday as they were preparing for the anticipated Battle of Donbass, which has begun. That was before the president came out and said that Russia's begun its second offensive to the east and to the south. They're not having much success in the south. They got repelled and pushed back, and some Russian soldiers are actually retreating back to the Kherson region. We're still waiting for reports in Kharkiv and any success or non-success in that city. This is the city of Dnipro preparing Monday. Dnipro's here, up the river from Zaporizhia, so it's right here.
Today we're in Dnipro. Dnipro is a big city in eastern Ukraine that has a very special role today, as we are expecting the increase in fighting in eastern Ukraine. Dnipro is about to serve once again, as it did in 2014, it's about to serve as a major support and supply center for Ukrainian forces in eastern Ukraine. The mood in the city is not what you would expect it to be given the circumstances. There is a lot of anticipation in the air, but it's not anxious anticipation, it's more like prepared anticipation. And I was able to see some of the preparations being made. I've been to a number of volunteer centers, centers that distribute humanitarian aid, who provide supplies to the Ukrainian armed forces that are in the east. I've talked to the mayor of Dnipro, who told me some interesting things about what he expects to happen. There is this sense of, we know what we are doing. And I think the experience of 2014, when Dnipro was also a major supply and support center for the East, it is what is feeding this sense of calm, preparedness that is felt in Dnipro today. One interesting thing about Dnipro is that the city really serves as an example of how off Russian propaganda narrative about Russian-speaking Ukrainians is. The city is almost entirely Russian-speaking, but it is not pro-Russian at all. And that's what Russian propaganda wants you to believe, that Ukrainians who speak Russian, they have emotional, cultural, whatever other connection to Russia that makes them pro-Russian, that makes them want to be a part of Russia. And that is simply not true, and Dnipro is, I think, the best, most clear example of that.
And then here's video of the Ukrainian investigators have examined 269 dead bodies in Irpin near Kyiv since the town was taken back from Russian forces in late March. So Irpin is a satellite city to the northwest of Kyiv. Bucha and Irpin. Here's Irpin, Bucha. I don't think there's any audio. Oh, there is some. So that is from the gravesite in Irpin. Thread continues here. Dnipro Regional Administration says, so we're getting some updates now. Thread continues here. Dnipro Regional Administration says that overnight the Russian forces had carried out massive multiple launch rocket system shelling of a number of towns south to Kryvyi Rih, causing damage but no casualties. It's Kryvyi. I'm probably even saying that wrong too. Where is that? Right here. It's even further to the southwest of Dnipro. North of Kherson. So it's like right here. Here it is on our war map. Kryvyi Rih. Rubinzine, Popasna came under heavy Russian shelling. UA forces repelled attacks. UA downed Russian UAV, destroyed heavy equipment. Russians have lost manpower. No success on the enemy in any direction. The head of Luhansk military administration. No success on the enemy on any direction. This is the first report we have from overnight. First reports coming out. Russian media published a photo from the site of the shelling of the Belgorod region. This is from the Belgorod governor said that there was a strike in Belgorod. So this is a picture coming from that. See what this thread is. Here's the information earlier. The governor of Belgorod once again reported the shelling of a border village of Golovinchno by Ukraine. According to him, there is destruction and a woman hurt. She is being assisted. All right. Earthquake. There's a magnitude 6 earthquake in I don't know where that is. There's earthquakes. 108 kilometers east of where is this? Just really quick. Earthquakes going on. Oh, off of Australia? Okay. To the east of Australia, you got earthquakes going. I'm sure people are. Any Australian residents feeling earthquakes or aftershocks? We felt those in Russia all the time. Or in Russia, God, Alaska all the time. When I lived in Alaska for nearly 4 years, we had. That's the first time I ever experienced what earthquakes feel like. The World Bank has lowered the growth forecast for the world economy in 2022 due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine from 4.1% to 3.2%. According to it, the war unleashed by Russia will cause greater economic damage to the whole of Eastern Europe than the COVID-19 pandemic. You guys in Australia aren't feeling those? 6 million Ukrainians have limited access to drinking water. UNICEF said Ukraine on April 18th that Russia's war has devastated water and electricity networks in Ukraine, leaving an additional 4.6 million people with limited access to water. Limited access to water. Join our Discord server too, everyone. We have an amazing Discord community. We see video of the Moskva, you mean? Is this video of the Moskva sinking? This is how large warships sink. Video of the Moskva, if you haven't seen it. Allegedly. Uniform TV. Rockets have arrived in Lviv in the morning of the Caspian region. Is this from today? No, this was in the morning this was Monday morning. Well, here's some more video from Lviv in the morning. The object of military infrastructure on which they beat is unused warehouses. One of the 4 missiles flew in general for tire fitting.
Зараз підемо, чекай. То вже яка третя? Четверта вже впала. А ось ще одна летить.
Again, this was Monday morning, so this is why we went through and looked up what caliber missiles or caliber missiles are capable of. This was a video of them being used in Lviv yesterday morning.
Та де вокзал ближче, вон вокзал, де прапор.
Та вона там желізна дорога далі йде, я так думаю. Ні?
Нічого не збиває? Якщо там і так з того боку. Куда?
That's more video from the Monday attack in Lviv. Fortunately, I can't do the daily thread Ukraine for today. Okay. I think people are becoming a little too fixated on May 9th as the end date for this war. If Russia hasn't achieved significant goals by then, but Russian officials still think they can achieve more gains on the battlefield, they won't stop just because it is Victory Day. Yes, good point. May 9th isn't going to mean... May 9th doesn't mean the war is going to end, if you believe that. It's a significant day for Russia, but not... Look at Malcolm. So Malcolm Nance from MSNBC, the contributor, is fighting in the Legion. He's been there for about a month now. Let's look at our list. Latest news in Ukraine. Russian occupiers are bombing the Azovstal plant. Bombs are super heavy, says Mariupol City Council. So these are people that are in the plant, in the factory, that are taking shelter, civilians, in the Azovstal plant in Mariupol. Mariupol is a southeastern port city. I think the only thing left in Mariupol at this point for Russia or for Ukrainian controlled territory would be the plant. This is Mariupol now. I don't even think the Ukrainian forces have this under control anymore. Organize the humanitarian corridors. We must immediately evacuate civilians wounded and take away bodies of soldiers to bury them. There are at least 1,000 civilians in the underground shelters of the Azovstal, mostly women and children and the elderly. These are the people that are taking shelter in the Azovstal plant. Due to the Russian invasion, the number of people with limited access to drinking water is increased by 4.6 million. That's from the UNICEF report. I need drinking water. I need drinking water. This is the commander from the Azov battalion. I don't have the translation on this one. He was asking for how the leaders of the world right now, Mariupol, Azovstal, hundreds of civilians are sheltering. Among them are people of all ages, women, children, and families of Mariupol defenders. Ukrainian defenders can boast okay. Nothing new coming out from the east yet. Battle of Donbass underway. What are we doing for Ukraine? Opinion. The enemy does not have the military manpower or competence to win the war. Still waiting for anything new to come out, chat. While we're waiting, though, comment where you guys are tuned in from. We're going to be live for about another 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We'll see if there's any further updates. If not, it'll have to be tomorrow update. We're live every night at 9:30 Central Time. I hope a lot of you guys are going to be tuning in tomorrow. The only days we have off is Friday night and Sunday. Friday night and Sunday. So you guys have chose the right spot to tune into the war in Ukraine and any news that is happening around that. But comment where you guys are watching from. I'm Andrew Mercado from Mercado Media. I'm your host of this channel, Independent Media. Thank you guys again for choosing Independent Media. We got the peaceful, beautiful British Columbia tuned in. This is a 420 friendly stream too, by the way. I haven't let you know. Doesn't mean you need to participate in 420 or that, but it is a 420 friendly stream. We got Albany, Oregon tuned in. Juneau, Alaska is tuned in. Again, I lived in Fairbanks, Alaska for a few years. Inglewood, California, welcome. Good to have you here. Shout out to our veteran community. We have an amazing veteran community. We have an amazing recovery community. Watching from Ireland, bro. Awesome. I'm a veteran myself. I served in the U.S. Army from 2012 to 2020, 4 years in the reserves, 4 years active duty, 1 tour to the Middle East. We got Somalia's tuned in. Welcome. Tomorrow is 420. Yep. Yes, it is. Lakeland, how you doing? Snowy Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Sunny Perth, Australia. Welcome. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hey. Niagara Falls, New York. Welcome. Calgary. Welcome. Wisconsin, Knoxville, Tennessee. Welcome. Watching from Michigan. I just came from there. And so I was all weekend. I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, covering protests. All right. Let's continue on. Kansas, welcome. Good to have you here. Wisconsin's tuned in. Snowy Windsor, Ontario. What do we got now? Let's check our list. Slow morning for news coming out. Border village of Golovinsko. So this is another report of the village in Belgorod, Russia, who was shelled from the side of Ukraine. There was reports of a woman injured per the governor of Belgorod. U.S. defense official says there are now 76 Russian battalion tactical groups in Donbass in the southeast of Ukraine, which is up from 65. 10 years and 1 week sober. Congratulations. I'm also in recovery. I am recovered from my drug of choice for over 3 years now. So I represent recovery, but I speak for those that practice harm reduction. All right, harm reduction route for recovery. I obviously am 420 friendly. It significantly helps my mental health, helps my anxiety stay down, helps my PTSD stay down because I have severe mental health things going on. So it does really help me keep at a balance, especially covering events such as these. So I do practice harm reduction, but shout out to everybody that has years of sobriety and is also in recovery. Unfortunately, I can't do the daily thread for Ukraine, so news is at a standstill right now. Russia has begun preparations for Victory Day parade in Moscow, rehearsing with more than 11,000 troops. To celebrate Putin's invasion of Ukraine, 8 MiG-29 planes will fly in the Z formation. Russia is basically an oversized North Korea, but worse. Out of their own anecdote.
На Малабине сегодня состоялась репетиция парада ко Дню Победы. 11 тысяч военнослужащих. На Малабине сегодня состоялась репетиция парада ко Дню Победы. 11 тысяч военнослужащих в пеших колоннах. 384 шага по полигону, ровно столько же будет и на Красной площади. Механизированная часть, как и все последние годы, открывает легендарный танк времен Великой Отечественной Т-34. За ним современные Т-90 и передовые арматы. Надежная защита от угроз с воздуха, зенитные ракетные комплексы С-400 и БУК. А еще Тор и Панцирь-С, конечно, мобильные...
All cannon fodder. Just a parade of cannon fodder driving through. Minus the...
Установки межконтинентальных баллистических ракет ЯС. Их характеристики не раскрываются.
They move those. That's the... God, what's the name of that thing? They moved that into. They have those moving around in Belarus. I think it's the Su-300s. What are those things called? Was I right? That was close. It's not an Su-300, but I think it's like I'm around the. That's a bigger one.
Посмотреть на них можно.
One is cannon fodder, like things that get destroyed by cannon fire. So all their trucks that I was just saying, because it's all this is just getting destroyed in Ukraine by the Bayraktar drones.
И передовые арматы. Надежная защита от угроз с воздуха, зенитные ракетные комплексы С-400 и БУК. А еще ТОР и...
That's an ICBM launcher. The S-300 SAM. Yeah, they're moving those in Belarus. So that is the what do we got here? ICB, the Iskander. Looked like an Iskander. Let's type that in quick just to verify that. No, it's not it. Hold on. Iskander. It's a little bigger than the Iskander too, that truck. It looked like one, but it's a little bigger. The one that drove by in the video. The one in the video is a little bigger.
От угроз с воздуха, легендарный танк времен Великой Отечественной Т-34. За ним современные Т-90 и передовые арматы. Надежная защита.
Those ones are. That's the Su-3. That's the Su-300
от угроз с воздуха, зенитные ракетные комплексы С-400 и БУК. А еще ТОР и Панцирь-С, конечно, мобильные установки межконтинентальных баллистических.
Yeah, that thing's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 axles on it. It's a RT-2PM Topo. RT-2PM Topo. Oh, what the hell? Yep, you're right. Who said it? Nathan. Shout out to Nathan. That's what it is. It's an RT. What does it do? What is it? RT 2 p.m. Topo. 2 p.m. That's a big truck. I haven't seen this thing yet.
Military weapons.
Okay.
The giant Topol-M Road Mobile Intercontinental Ballistic Missile is one frightening creation of mankind. It can hide in cities, forests, or even nuclear attack-hardened bunkers. It'll travel over 15,000 miles per hour while taking evasive action and pumping out decoys on the way to its target. Topol-M, known by NATO as the Sickle B, was the first ICBM created by Russia after the fall of the Soviet Union. Topol in Russian is the name for the white poplar tree, which is very similar to the aspen tree in North America. The top.
Yo.
The Topol-M missile was designed.
That's the big boy. That's the big boom. The big long range one.
Penetrate an American and maneuvering independently targeted re-entry vehicles, of which it can carry up to 6, although they are said to carry just 1 operationally. The missile's high speed shortens the time that anyone can react to it, and every second matters when it comes to ballistic missile defense. The rocket motors were designed for a short, very powerful boost stage, so that the American...
I had another hiccup in the stream. Just refresh and come back if you guys are having problems. We're good.
Space-based infrared detection satellites have less time to detect and track it. Its decoys make it hard for radar to adequately track the correct target, and its countermeasures are said to have been upgraded to full infrared tracking systems, which are used for mid-course interception. The missile and re-entry vehicle's ability to dynamically maneuver outside of their ballistic track makes producing an effective kill solution, or even predicting the Topol M's target, problematic. All these features come together to make a missile that's probably outside of America's missile defense capability.
Cult member says, hit that like, it's free support for the channel and no freaky spiders. Thank you for the $5 super chat.
Today, and the sheer number of them that exist makes the idea of defending against anything but a limited barrage totally invalid.
Look at it, the whole damn truck comes off the ground and it's, oh my goodness. It's just like a big mobile missile silo. That's what it is. It's a big mobile missile silo on wheels.
The missile itself is close to 70 feet long, made mainly out of carbon fiber, and weighs just over 100,000 pounds at launch. It can reach up to 6,500 miles, and its 3 stages
6,500 miles this thing can go, dude?
Solid fueled, so it can be ready to launch at a moment's notice and can remain ready for fire for long periods of time. The Topol M is so powerful that it can also be used to put up medium-sized satellites into low Earth orbit, as its payload for ICBM operations can be as heavy as 2,650 pounds, although it usually carries a single 800 kiloton.
Why do they put the fire extinguishers on the front of the truck? Like, who would be anywhere in the vicinity of this vehicle when that thing goes off?
Carries a single 800 kiloton thermonuclear warhead. It is guided by an onboard inertial navigation system that is coupled with GLONASS interface, giving the giant rocket a circular error probability of around 600 feet, which is more than accurate enough for an ICBM. Not only is the road mobile Topol M hard to hit once it's in the air, or at the edge of space for that matter, it is also very hard to find on the ground, as they can hide pretty much anywhere. Its transporter erector launcher is built in Belarus by heavy military vehicle makers MZKT and features 16 wheels and front and rear pair of axles that have independent steering, which is absolutely necessary for navigating the massive Tel on roads that were never built for something its size.
So it's got like, oh wow, that's their ICBM. That's what we saw in that video. What is it officially? The RT-2PM Topol. The NATO reporting name is the SS-25 Sickle. So that's what NATO refers it to as, is the SS-25 Sickle. Wow. That's terrifying.
Ракет ЯС. Их характеристики не раскрываются, но посмотреть на них можно. А в воздушной части новейшие многофункциональные истребители пятого поколения Су-57, малозаметные и сверхманевренные. А еще крупнейший в мире сверхзвуковой стратегический ракетоносец Ту-160. Всего 77 самолетов и вертолетов по количеству лет со дня Великой Победы. И вот тут позвольте пофантазировать. Две встречно перевернутые семерки образуют букву «З». Один из символов специальной военной операции по защите Донбасса. И он тоже будет в небе 9 мая.
А вот новинка этого.
Yo, what the fuck? What kind of PlayStation 2 grab? Was this a real...
А в воздушной части новейшие...
Okay.
Заметные и сверхманевренные. А еще...
What the hell are they doing? Yeah, I'm gonna need a source on that, buddy. We're gonna need a source on that.
Why don't you back it up with a source? My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Thread continues. All right, let's refresh the latest. Ukraine siren alert in the Kharkiv Oblast 24 seconds ago. We got sirens going off in Kharkiv. Message was generated using municipal data. So there's sirens going off in Kharkiv to the east. Railway bridge across the Seversky Donetsk between Yampol and Seversk Donetsk was blown up. Railway bridge across Seversky Donetsk between Yampol and Sever. Okay, we got video. Russian military on the move in Donetsk. Here's a new clip. Military equipment on the move in Donetsk. Here it is on the map. Down here. So where would they be moving from? From the Donbass. All right. Russian military equipment on the move. And they're moving quickly. Again, this is Russian military equipment on the move in Donetsk. What flag is that? What flag is this one? You guys are at 874 out of 1,000 likes. You got the Russian flag on the tank. What's this one? We got some white, green, and red. Belarus, I think. That's the flag of Belarus. Oh. Oh. Flag of Chechnya. That looks a little bit more accurate. Same colors. You guys think that's the one? Erica. Yeah, they also have a Z on it too. There's a Z on the car in the back, the rear window. Green is on top. It's on the tank in the last one. Must have missed it. Slow chat is on. Railway bridge across Seversky Donetsk between Yampol and... Let's get the geolocation of that. That's here. Between Kramatorsk and Severodonetsk, in between. Nowhere to go on Street View. Nowhere around here on Street View to drop. This is the closest location. Oh, can't even drop in on it. Thank you, Evie. Thank you so much. No, it won't even let me drop. No. Denied. That's too far away to see anything. But this is the region. Let's do satellite. This is the bridge from the satellite imagery. Here it is now in the river. All right. Russian military equipment on the move. We're aware of that. Thank you, Erica. Erica and Evie, thank you so much. Ukrainian President Zelensky. I can't read this. On Monday, the president of Ukraine handed over to the ambassador of the European Union to Ukraine the answers to the questionnaire on the application for membership, which is the basis for the EU to decide on the status of a candidate country of Ukraine. Ooh, that's big news. Zelensky handed the answers to the questionnaire for the application. That's just so dog and pony show, dude. Just so dog and pony how they have to go through this junk just to get them in the membership. That should have been done remotely. It's taken over 60 days. He has to actually fill out questionnaires, dude. Are you kidding me? That's so... dude. Video that's being shared on social media showing Russian forces tank running over what? I really wish it wasn't written all like this. Okay, I don't know. Minute of silence for Ukraine. What is this? Oh, 9 a.m. is a minute of silence that they do. It's 9 a.m., just 4 minutes past 9 a.m. in Ukraine. They do a daily minute of silence at 9. Andrew, look at that. What you mean? Video from Ukraine of Russian soldiers' equipment getting destroyed. Is there a location? You guys are getting close. 887 out of 1,000. You're getting there. Like the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're watching in the background. If you would like to comment, subscribing's free to do. Just close out the chat, hit the subscribe button, and you're able to comment after, you're able to comment. It's like a troll and porn bot security layer. The porn bots still get around it sometimes. YouTube has a terrible bot control. What do you got for a question? The flag was Bulgarian. There's a reach from the Kremlin to Bulgaria.
The ruins of their hometown. A senior U.S. defense official says the city is still contested at this hour. And in part of his exclusive interview with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky,
it's not. I mean, it's contested in maybe the steel plant. Ukrainian soldiers' phone stopped what appears to be a 7.62 round.
Це телефон за 20 тисяч. І жетон, який мені видали.
Ось ось жетончик, їбать.
What?
Через ксіву перельоти такі пішли, слава Богу.
І ці гандонів не так, як нас 5.45, а 7.62, блядь.
Плюс. Оп. То це одних.
Вона ще з БК нести буде.
Я прекращаю.
Сидіти. Єдине, що спасло мою жизнь, це телефон за 20 тисяч. І жетон, який мені видали.
Ось ось жетончик, їбать. Через ксіву перельоти такі пішли, слава Богу.
Yeah, I got it, Erica.
Не так, як нас 5.45, а 7.
Look at that. The round when it's set.
62, блядь.
Плюс.
Sticking out of it.
Плюс. Оп.
Rather have the phone destroyed than that hit him. That's what a ship. What is this about? USS Tripoli America class amphibious assault ship coming into San Diego. That's what a ship who is cared for correctly looks like. Take notes, rest of the U.S. Navy. I don't know, that must be a Navy thing. Don't get it. Siren alerts 12 minutes ago in Kharkiv are waiting for the all clear. Kremlin advisor Serhiy Haidarov's two latest interviews provide an insight window into how the Kremlin views the Ukraine war and Russia's future. I will unpack his main conclusions in this thread. Haidarov justifies invading Ukraine as a preemptive war on two grounds. The first is that Ukraine has become like Nazi Germany. The second is that Ukraine was a, quote, spearhead of NATO. To explain why Russia invaded Ukraine, so this is why anybody spreading this thing or saying this in the chat is getting their information directly from the Kremlin. Or they're getting it from a source that sucks up all of the Kremlin's words and like distributing that. So these two narratives are coming straight from the Kremlin. To explain why Russia invaded Ukraine, even though NATO membership was unlikely, Haidarov strips all ethics away from Western foreign policy. He quips that if Russia and China were democracies and the West was a monarchy, the West would attack godless liberalism. Haidarov, what? Their propaganda is starting on two fronts now. Godless liberalism, so they're both framing themselves as like, how do you do that? He quips that if Russia and China were democracies, the West was a monarchy, the West would attack godless liberalism. But that's what their main propaganda is going against too. Their propaganda appeases to conservatives that hate liberalism and progressivism. So it's like, dude, what a mindfuck of Russia. Their whole propaganda is to appease to people that hate progressivism and their conservative view, and they propagate conservative viewpoints. But what a way to, dude, framing Russia and China as godless liberalism. Haidarov develops his point further by saying the West regretted not destroying Russia in the 1990s and it was compensating now. He claims that Western isolation of Russia has created Russophobia unseen since Hitler's time. Haidarov compares Russophobia to historical European... Oh my god, dude. He argues that the COVID-19 pandemic distracted the West from its obsession with hating Russia and that the end of the COVID-19 pandemic caused the West to start a war in Ukraine. The West is the aggressor. Haidarov then calls the freezing of Russian central bank assets, quote, a bandit act directed at a nuclear superpower. He predicts that the Russia-West conflict will move to a whole new level and says a lack of strategic vision and Western irresponsibility caused this. Karganov makes it clear that the current crisis... So anybody that you see in the chat propagating these talking points, you now know where they're coming from. They're coming from the Kremlin. Karganov makes it clear that the current crisis is much more dangerous than the Cold War. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, Karganov says the West had responsible politicians, which they don't exist now. Karganov argues that Russia is better positioned geopolitically now than in the Cold War, as it has no Warsaw Pact satellites or rival in China. Russia has close ties with both China and India. He predicts that the West will be the loser from the war in Ukraine. On Ukraine, Karganov defends the use of the phrase denazification. He argues that Nazism isn't just about killing Jews, it is about supremacy and humiliation. Karganov argues that the U.S. is humiliating Russia by pushing Ukraine towards the West. Hence, Ukraine is now Nazi. Karganov says that Russia has fought Ukraine with one hand tied behind its back, it's avoided civilian targets, and has only used 30 to 35% of the weapons available to it. He does not caution against what he sees as the West's attempts to Afghanize Ukraine. That's the Kremlin advisor. So there's a whole bunch of talking points from the Kremlin that if you start seeing them in the chat, you know where they're getting their information from or what they're believing, or they're believing this narrative. Unreal. The questions, any questions around this shit it's questions because of the Kremlin narrative, and they want that to be a thing. Been saying this for a while, but we'll repeat for emphasis. The next few weeks will be battle of logistics. Ukraine will win it. Who's Mark Hertling? National Security and Healthcare Commissioner at... What does he do? American Battle Monuments Commission? American Battle Monuments Commission guy giving his opinion. Ukraine will win the logistics war. We've seen this. Russian military equipment moving into Donetsk. Still tight information coming out right now. Nothing. Let's see what this is now. Good morning. Putin and his henchmen are to stand trial in the Hague. Is that for real? Serhiy Haidai, head of the Luhansk Regional State Administration, called on people to evacuate from the region. Leave because the residents of Kreminna did not have time and now are hostages, he said. Attempts will be made to save people from Rubinzin, Severodonetsk, Lysychansk, Popasna, and Hori communities. So calls from the head of Luhansk Regional State Administration to evacuate. What is this about, though? Is this going to be one of those I made it the fuck ups? We're going to have to have Ride and ask for a source here. News. Yeah, Invictus games are a break from what? So, hey. I'm not seeing anything on this. I'm not seeing anything on this one.
Why don't you back it up with a source? My source is that I made it the fuck up.
I'm not seeing anything for that. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said that Russian military activity in Mariupol is not weakening, but Ukrainian defenders of the city continue to hold their ground. A concentration of Russian airstrikes and artillery can be observed in the Donbass and in the south. That's from the and again, United States intelligence have been pretty on point. They're not telling the Ukrainian narrative of how many soldiers they've killed. Like that was starting to get capped after a couple of weeks. Their numbers that they were putting out. We're like 16 minutes over time, y'all. I apologize for not going live this morning. That was a lot of marching this weekend. My body didn't recover well. we've gone over everything we can up to this point. We'll just do a little recap from overnight, and I'm hoping that we do get more information or further reports of the status of the Russian military and where they're at. We got reports of evacuations in the Donbass region and the Luhansk regional area. What is it? One more time. Lugansk Regional State Administration calling to evacuate the region, which we've seen on Telegram already earlier in the night. Where is it? Come on. Luhansk governor wanting to evacuate and get a humanitarian corridor, as well as in Mariupol. The Azov battalion is asking for that for the civilians and non-combatants that they have in the Azovstal plant that they're protecting. So, dire situation in Mariupol. Forces, they shelled Mykolaiv, but were repelled, and actually some retreated back to the Kherson region. But here's video overnight. MLRS, multiple launch rocket fire from Kherson towards Mykolaiv. So we're waiting for that. Further reports of this. Here's more video of that. MLRS shelling in Mykolaiv. This is like 10 o'clock Monday night in Ukraine. Gotta realize it's 9:17 in the morning now. So this was overnight, Monday into Tuesday. Yeah, The Hague is the International Criminal Court. We watched one event of theirs, and then they asked for a coffee break, and that was the last of The Hague that I cared to tune into. They needed a coffee break when deciding to, oh my dude, just so much bullshit from this war. Video of the Russian strikes from Kharkiv. Now this isn't Mykolaiv, right? This is to the east. This is in Kharkiv, where they're actually trying to make attempts at an offensive here. No live feeds, negative. No, nothing from John Sweeney this morning yet. He hasn't posted. Likely waiting for more reports too from any Russian military advancements. Nothing new. But all right, hey. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've been live for over 3 hours now, and that's about the time that we got for the night. I will be live again tomorrow at 9, or actually it's technically later today. It's already 1:20 in the morning. But I'll be live at 9 p.m., between 9 and 9:30 p.m. Central Time. I hope you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. I hope you guys enjoyed the coverage in terms of trying to seek the most relevant and accurate information. I wish it was on a different topic. We do cover the world news when we can, but right now the second offensive from Russia began overnight, so we're going to be refocused into Ukraine as much as we can. But again, join our Discord server so you guys can start sharing news stories into our news channel that you would like me to cover, because again, I do cover the world news, and then when it comes to national news in the United States, I try to make it there myself and cover news stories on the ground live with my own technology, and I'm out there live. I was just live in Grand Rapids. You guys can check out the channel and see the type of news coverage I do when I'm live on the ground. But thank you to everybody that's sending super chats and super stickers supporting the channel, keeping it going. Thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel and keeping it going. Thank you to everybody that's joined us this evening that usually tunes into a different stream. We're welcome to have you here, and please come on back. We're live every single night except for Friday nights. We're live every night between 9 and 9:30 except for Friday nights and Sundays. Have a wonderful night. Hope you guys had a great Easter weekend, and see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in.